Welcome to our 59th weekly webcast. I'm doing this webcast this week from Berlin because I'm here attending an awesome Udemy conference. And behind me is a piece of the Berlin Wall. The late, great President Reagan, in front of the Brandenburg Gates, he gave the most incredible speech in 1987, which kind of helped the wall to come down, that and other factors. And what he did was, I think it was June 1987, he said, "Mr. Gorbachev, tear down this wall." He also said, "Open this gate." And those three words really helped the wall to tumble, among other things. And a lot of people were furious with Reagan at the time when he did this. His national security advisor at the time was Colin Powell. And Colin Powell and the whole White House thought what he did was very irresponsible. In fact, Reagan's speechwriter was furious with him for doing that, especially because Reagan had worked really, really hard to set up good relationships with Gorbachev over the couple of years leading up to 1987, and so people were really surprised by it. But the bottom line is, he spoke from his heart. And when you're giving a speech, you got to go off cuff, go off script, and just speak from your heart. And just know that less is more. Those three words change the world. Open this gate. If you get a chance, do a Google search or a YouTube search for that Reagan speech from 1987. It was amazing. It was amazing. And I think other people are waiting to be here at this, go in front of this wall here. I'm in front of Checkpoint Charlie right now. And so if this is the first time that you've joined us on our webcast, welcome. If you've been with us before, welcome back. And so the way it works is I answer as many questions as you want to, and the call never, ever, ever ends until I've answered every single question. If I don't answer your question properly, please put me on the spot and ask it again. If I skip your question, please ask it again, because I answer the question in the order in which I receive them. A lot of times I get a ton of questions, and I get a senior moment every now and then. I miss questions. So without further ado, let's begin, and thank you. Hello, everyone from Berlin. I'm really honored to say that I've got a guest audience today. A couple of my students, one of them just interviewed me for a school project, and another one drove 6.5 hours just for this from Stuttgart, which is where Mercedes is based, right? You mentioned? Okay, and I want to introduce you to both of them. So we have Robin and Vital. Why don't you guys come on over here and introduce yourselves? This is pretty cool. And so today I'm going to be taking questions, of course, from all the students online there, as well as from our studio audience here. And so first of all, we got Vital from Stuttgart.
Yes, from Stuttgart.
Excellent. And then we have Robin.
Hi.
Yeah. So I'm honored that they're here right now. They both have incredible life stories. Why don't you tell us about where you're from, both of you? Why don't you go ahead first?
Oh, yes. So I'm from Stuttgart right now, but I originally come from Rwanda. Rwanda is Africa, East Africa. And I'm here in Stuttgart, and I'm looking forward to... I was looking forward to meeting Chris.
Awesome. And God bless. Thank you for driving so far. I appreciate it. This is awesome. And they're both joining us in the MBA degree program as well, which will be a lot of fun, excited. Which will be awesome. Yes. It's awesome. Cool. Yeah. How about you?
Yes, my name is Robin. Originally I'm from the south of Germany, Freiburg. I live now in Hamburg, also Germany, but the north of Germany. After my A-levels, I didn't really knew what to do, so I chose a program which was quite diverse, which had technology, design and business in it. And after I finished most of my courses in the bachelor, I started my own company with a friend, and we are building online shops and websites for clients now. And I still lack a bit of business knowledge, and that's how I also got to know Chris through the complete MBA course on Udemy, and I did it, and I was like totally blown away from all this amazing content. And now I'm joining the mastermind, and I just cannot wait to get started.
Thank you guys. I appreciate it so much. Come over here, guys. Appreciate it.
So, man, we appreciate you so much.
This is awesome.
Thank you for doing this.
Please, least I can do.
Giving to the world.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Excellent. Cool. And I got a piece of the Berlin Wall here too. I bought this from exactly. Mr. Gorbachev, tear down this wall. What a great speech that was, eh? And somebody painted it too, eh?
Yeah.
So they're more expensive not painted. This was a bit cheaper, so it's kind of nice. Y'all know how I love to use props, so that's great. Excellent. All right, let's see where our first question's from. And you guys ask as many questions as you want, obviously, as well.
Sure. We have tons of questions.
Okay, excellent. All right, first one is Rohit. Rohit saying, good morning, Chris. Hope all is well. Thank you. Same to you. And then Valenza is saying, hey, Chris, how are you? I'm awesome. Thank you. How's your week been in Berlin? It's amazing. This is an incredible place. There's so much to see here. So much to see, yeah. And then you wrote here, managed to get some Schweizensausage. What is that?
Schweinehexe.
Yeah, what is that?
It's a pork.
I had like one of those schnitzel things. There's curry in them. They have good ones with curry in them now, eh? It's awesome. It's really good. Okay, cool. Thank you. And then we got Jason from who's our buddy from Australia. He's saying, Guten Morgen, Chris. Guten Abend. Yeah, thank you. Wie buchstabiert man das? Yeah. Any decision yet on the timing, when during the day and which days of the week that you'll run the 2 sessions for the time zones for the MBA? We're still figuring that out right now. We're going to make it so that it's accessible to everybody. And so for those of you not familiar with the process, for the MBA degree program that starts December 2nd, we're going to teach it in 2 different time zones. So time zone 1, I'm going to teach for 6 hours each week. That's 3 hours on 2 different days. Time zone 2, 6 hours as well. 3 hours on one day, 3 hours on another day. And then everything is going to be recorded online, so you all have access to it forever. We're still trying to work out what the absolute best time is. And if you have any suggestions, what times work for all of you, please let us know. Thank you. All right. Next is Rohit. Is it wise to go into management consultancy as an analyst after undergrad without any work experience? Is management consultancy hyped and dreadful, just like investment banking? So management consultancy, being a management consultant out of undergrad is a smart thing, especially if you're not sure what you want to do with your life. Because you get exposed to a lot of different companies, a lot of different client sites. And if you hate what you're doing, there's light at the end of the tunnel, because usually within 3 to 6 months, they move you to another client engagement as well. And sometimes in a different city, which is fun. You get to travel and you'll learn a lot as well. Just don't do it for your whole life, please. Do it for 3 or 4 years and then leave when you want to start a family, because it's really, really tough. Like when I used to work at Accenture, I remember there was this unwritten agreement that all the partners had. When you became partner, I would never have made partner, but when you make partner, there's a stipulation they can send you anywhere in the world they want to. It's kind of like it's like the army. It's like the war. If there's a war, you got to fight on those battles and whatnot. Yeah. You guys don't have to kneel here, man. I'm so sorry. I got chairs over here. Please make yourselves at home. And there's water over there as well. There's a full liquor cabinet. I don't drink. You can have all of it if you want. Yeah. And I got snacks as well for you guys. Yeah. Please. No. It's such a pleasure and honor to have you guys here.
Yeah, we are.
Thank you. Yeah.
Spending this time with you.
Yeah. This is fun. Awesome. And I'm so touched you guys came so far away too. Appreciate it. Thank you. Yeah. And if you guys have any questions for them, let me know as well. Is that okay?
Yes.
All right. Because we're all in this together, right?
We don't have any taboo questions.
Awesome. Very cool. Thanks. Yeah. No, but I think Rohit, going into a management consulting is a smart thing if you're not sure what to do. And actually, the way it works, I think, is that if you're not sure what you want to do, try to get a job in origination. And what that means is this. If you originate or make the product and you don't like making the product, you can move on and do something else related to that product, like selling it, marketing, etc. So let's say that you go into investment banking. In investment banking, you're making the finance product, right? You're actually making the IPO product, for example. And if you hate making the product, then there is light at the end of the tunnel, because after a while, instead of making the product, you can move on to market the product or sell the product within finance. By the same token, switching gears over to management consultancy. In consultancy, what you're doing is you're creating corporate strategy for a lot of companies. You're making their strategy. And if you don't like making their strategy, then after a while, you can sell that strategy by working in sales or market that strategy, working in marketing, that sort of thing. And the last thing I'll say about that is, if you're in origination and technology, it means you're an engineer. And if you're at Google, for example, the engineers are at the top of the food echelon there. They're really, really well respected there, as they are in many companies. But if you hate engineering and you hate programming, you can also move on to market that product or sell that technology product as well, because you really understand the nuts and bolts of making it. So the bottom line is, if you're not sure what you want to do, there's no shame. And it's a good thing to go into a consultancy or banking initially, at least, or engineering, because you make the product. And if you don't like making the product, you can sell it or market it later on. Great question. Thank you for that. All right. Next up is, and I started my career in Accenture, or Accenture, as I call it. It's a bad joke. I've used that too many times. That's dad humor. Sorry. Yeah. All right. Next up, we've got here Julian saying, "Hi, Chris, and good afternoon from Germany." Thank you. Same to you. Same to you. Thanks. And then Julian saying, "What is your experience regarding investing in stocks during leading a company? Many founders are also investors, but they do this later in their career, at which point they start." Thank you. So let me try and understand the question better. My fault for not thoroughly understanding it. But if you're mentioning what happens if a founder leaves a company, if a founder leaves a company and is no longer engaged at all, meaning if they're not advising or helping or on the board, I tend to get worried. When founders leave companies, what happens is bureaucracy sets in, and companies can get incredibly political. Not in all situations, but in lots of situations. And a lot of times, some of the most sophisticated investors know that they're not investing in companies; they're investing in people. And so anybody that invests in Amazon knows that they're investing in Jeff Bezos. And Jeff Bezos runs that company like it's a startup still. At Amazon, you're not allowed to have meetings with more than just a handful of people. And you can't have a meeting that requires more than 2 pizzas to feed the team. Otherwise, bureaucracy sets in and keeps it small. So Amazon still runs kind of like a startup. And so when founders leave, I do get very, very worried. Yeah. All right. And if that wasn't the nature of your question, please let me know. Or if you have follow-up questions based on that, please let me know. Thank you. All right, next up is Rohit, who's saying, "What did you enjoy more, career-wise, Accenture or Goldman Sachs?" Gosh, I like them both. But I'll tell you why I left both places. So Accenture, I was a programmer. I absolutely loved it. It was fun. It was this cerebral intensity to it that when you're coding, it's like you're in a zone. And I love that. It's like playing a video game. I thoroughly loved it. But what got kind of tough for me was after a while, I moved into a little bit more so management, and I wanted to create the product instead of manage people. And also traveling a lot was kind of tough. I had a girlfriend, Christine, my wife now, and it was kind of tough being out of town. But they were a great company, and I'm really glad I worked there, and I'm proud it's on my resume. Now, in terms of Goldman Sachs, I absolutely love that place. They don't hire the smartest people in the world. They hired me, but they hire people that get along, right? So the jerk factor there is very, very low. It's a great culture. I absolutely loved it. But one of the reasons I left is because this is embarrassing. It's bad, but I want to make more money. And Goldman pays well, whatever. But I wanted to make more. So I went to a couple of big hedge funds, started my own hedge fund, and I was still unhappy. And I couldn't figure it out. I kept leaving these companies, getting better roles or whatever it was, and I was never happy. And it was because, I was chasing money. I didn't make a lot of it, whatever, I did fine, but I was chasing money. And when you chase money, you lose your dreams, and maybe your money as well. And so I realized that my true passion is teaching. And if you think with this first, this works a lot better. And if you chase your dreams and you're cool with failing a couple times, and please fail more than a couple times, then not only do your dreams come true after a while, but the money actually comes accidentally. And so for all of you out there that are not sure what you should be doing with your life, I strongly encourage you to follow your heart and do what you're most passionate about, because you'll be incredibly happy. And for me with my children, Andrew, Matthew, and Dylan, they're I never tell them what I want them to be. I just want them to be happy and confident. In the second you live your life to try to please other people career-wise is the second that you hate your job and you just become an unhappy person. All right. Next up, we've got Julian, who's saying, did you invest in the automotive industry? And if not, why? Thank you. Yeah, thank you for that question. I have actually. I invested actually in Mercedes, which is from Stuttgart, where you're from, which is awesome. And actually, when I interviewed at Goldman Sachs, it's kind of a cool story. It was back in 1998. And what Goldman does when they interview you, you have to go through like 40 interviews. It's crazy. There's a ton of interviews. But they asked me, the guy's name was Jordan Waxman. He worked in private wealth management at the time there. He said, what markets do you follow in Europe? And I mentioned the DAX was one of them. Yeah. And he asked me, name a company you follow on the DAX. And I said, Daimler Chrysler at the time. And he said, well, who's the CEO of Daimler Chrysler? And I said, well, Jürgen Schrimp. And then he said, who's the CFO? And I said, I don't know, but I'll get back to you. And what he was trying to do is he was trying to see if he could push me to see if I couldn't answer a question, what would I do? And the right answer is always, I don't know, but I'll get back to you. Yeah. But in terms of investing in automotive companies, yeah, I've invested in a lot of them. So I invested in Korea years ago in Hyundai in 2006 because it was trading at a price to book value of 1 time. And what they were doing at the time was they were trying to rebrand themselves to kind of be a little bit more like Honda. You'll notice that the H in the Hyundai logo was kind of tilted, italicized, looked like Honda. And they started making these incredible cars, Sonera and a bunch of others, which were dirt cheap but high quality. And I used to go to the Detroit Automotive show every year, and that was in January when I met with Hyundai and I invested in the company. Great company. Aside from that, yeah, I've invested in Toyota. When I used to work at Goldman back in the late 90s and early 2000s, I used to work in Japanese equities. So I invested in Toyota. Toyota is the gold standard, great company. Did a lot of research on other Japanese automakers as well. But I would not invest in that sector today just personally because they're very CapEx intensive. And I always get worried about inventory as well. And my preferred type of investment is always companies that don't have inventory. And I'm in the middle now of making a case study for our upcoming MBA degree program. And I actually bought over eBay a cartridge for ET from the Atari 2600. And what happened was Atari went belly up in the 90s because there was just too much supply of these cartridges. And they buried all these ET cartridges in the desert. So I love to invest in software companies or side hustles like teaching, where you can write once, read many. Yeah. Thank you for the question up. All right, next up is, the question is, what are your thoughts about the future of the European Union, and what is the place of Europe on the global business map? Thank you. Yeah. I think it makes sense for the EU to stay together as a large trading bloc, so you can compete against other massive trading blocs as well. I think trading blocs help a lot. It kind of broke my heart when Trump and, Trudeau were talking about dismantling NAFTA. I think that economies can do better if they have more clout and they're bigger in scale and whatnot through treaties, et cetera. I'm all for the EU longer term. I think it should stay together and God willing, everything works out for Brexit and people in the UK. Yeah. All right. Next up, Rohit is saying, how difficult was it for you to get an H1B visa as you're from Canada? It was tough. It was hard. It was hard. The way it works is you have to be able to prove to customs or to immigration officials that you can do a job that no American can, which is totally bogus. And so what they did for me was the lawyer said, I'm an economist, whatever, which is bogus. But I managed to get a job at Goldman, and Goldman took care of all the H1B stuff for me, which is great. And so if you get a job at a great big company in another country, if they like you a lot, and if you work very hard, and I worked exceptionally hard, then they'll walk through walls for you to get a visa. But I did run into issues around or just after 9/11. So my last name, I'm Arabic, I'm very proud of my heritage. And what happened was I was at Goldman, and Goldman was so good to me. In early 2001, they hired a lawyer, a guy named Tim Todd, great guy. And he worked for 6 months to try to get me my green card, right, because my H1B had kind of expired. I thought I was going to get it. And then after 9/11, what happened was it took me like another 6 or 7 years before I got it. And initially it was, so a lot of people don't realize this, but 6 months after 9/11, Bush Jr., who's president then, he got really upset because a couple of the terrorists had their visas automatically mailed to them and renewed, even though they had passed away. And so the whole visa process got pushed back eventually. And I think it was partially because of just my background stuff. I was on a no-fly list for a while, which kind of sucks, whatever. But actually, I had a good attitude about it. I remember I was at LaGuardia, lining up to get on a flight after 9/11, and the lineups were so long, it was crazy. But I would go to the front and I would say I'm on this list, and they'd give me an extra pat down, and I got to sit in the lounge there like a baller, have an extra couple of beers, whatever. No, but eventually I did get my green card years later. But it is what it is. It was kind of tough, yeah. Yeah, but if you do a great job working for a big company, they'll walk through walls for you. They will get you a visa. They will if you do well. And if you ever intern at a company and they tell you that we're just interning, we're not going to hire anybody full time, even if they say that's not true. If you make yourself so valuable to them and do an incredible job, they will find a way to hire you and get you a visa as well. Yes. Okay, next up, pardon me, is EJ, who's saying, good morning, Chris. Good morning, EJ. When it comes to financial consulting for individuals, how much experience at a firm do you think is necessary before you strike out on your own? Yeah. So I think the most important thing that you can have when you start a consulting business is access to clients. Obviously, you have to have a skill set you can sell, but you also have to network a lot, especially if you want to get customers in a services-based business. And so what I recommend doing is, while you work in a consulting firm, build out your Rolodex as much as you can, as much as you possibly can. And if there are no non-compete or legal issues, there's nothing wrong with you also having their clients as your clients as well longer term, as long as there's no legal issues, and get lawyers involved first, please. But the most important thing I can tell you is that, business is about relationships first and product knowledge second. So build out that Rolodex, read my networking book. You can go to my website and get it for free, harounventures.com. And set up as many informational meetings as you can and network as much as you can. Because I promise you, your success in business will be predicated upon the strength of your network. All right. Next up, Kunal is saying, good morning, Chris. Good morning to you too. How are you? And then Valenz is saying, how do you differentiate talent and passion? And how do you find both your hidden talent and your passion? Boy, what a great question. I think if you're really passionate about something, then the talent will develop. You got to love it. You got to love it. Like Tiger Woods, for example, he was passionate about golf from the day he was born. Sure, he was talented, but I think he was more passionate. His dad used to put him in the garage in his little baby seat there, car seat, while his dad would hit balls into a net. And so, Tiger Woods developed this passion along with a love for his father. It's an incredible bond. And once you have an incredible passion for something, you absolutely love it, then you will become very, very good at it, no matter what anybody says. All right. EJ is saying, I saw a number of books published by you on Amazon. Is that material covered by you on your Udemy courses, or would it be a good idea to get those if I want to learn that info? No, don't buy any of them, please, because you get all the information anyway from the Udemy courses. In fact, in a lot of the Udemy courses, I give the book away for free. So don't bother buying any of those, please. Yeah, and I have one that's for sale on Amazon, the networking book. Don't buy that either. Just go to my website and get it for free. Okay. Next up is, and a lot of the books I publish, actually, what I do is this. What I'll do is I'll have all of my courses, or when I finish a course, I'll go to rev.com and I'll get it closed captioned. And then what I'll do is I'll download all the closed captions into a text format, drop it into Microsoft Word. I'll add H1 and H2s, whatever, for different titles. I'll insert a table of contents and I'll publish that as a book. And for anybody that wants to write a book, you can use any of my templates if you want to. You can go to my website, harounventures.com/writebook, all one word, all lowercase, write book. And I have a template for you. It's in 6x9 format. And I promise you, if you write a book and you bring those books with you to interviews or to meet with potential customers and you give them your book, they will be impressed. How badly do you want that job? You guys written your book yet?
Not yet.
Not yet?
But
Okay.
I saw the guy from Germany who wrote.
Yeah, that's right.
Using your template.
Yeah, Phil Germany II's his name. Yeah. He wrote, it's called Super Students. I profiled it a couple weeks ago. Yeah. Very cool. Yeah.
thought he would be here.
Yeah. Everybody in my MBA degree program, you have to write a book. That's part of the curriculum now. Yeah. Okay. Next up, Valence is saying, if you have a limited amount of budget, what would you think would be the best investment to do, property or stocks? Yeah. Gosh, I can hear my my late great grandfather saying to me, "Chrissy, buy land. They're not making it anymore." I love land. I love commodities. I love anything where there's a dearth or a very small supply. And even when it comes to stocks, you always have to look at the share count closely. And that's why I advise against buying most cryptocurrencies, because a lot of cryptocurrencies will have unlimited supply. So you always have to look at the supply component before you buy any stocks, as well as before you buy real estate, obviously, as well as commodities. I like land a lot. And my wife and I, Christine, we just purchased a piece of land, an apartment block. Feel embarrassed kind of saying it. My wife did all the work. She did a great job. But we bought it in London, Ontario, the other day by Western University, because our thesis is that it doesn't matter how cyclical property prices are. Education is countercyclical, and more people will go to university in recessions anyway. So we're investing big time in land. Yeah. All right. Next up is Jason is saying, what are your thoughts on using headsets for video conferencing? Professionalism versus bang for buck on audio quality. Yeah. I personally don't like headsets. Like sometimes when I've given speeches, they put this thing on me and it kind of wraps around. I prefer to actually have, and Robin actually interviewed me today and he had a little lavalier. I like those as well. Those are great. Yeah. So for professionalism, I don't like to wear them up here. I just personally don't. I recommend if you're just getting started to get a Blue Yeti. It's a great microphone. It's easy to use. It's basically plug and play. It's really, really easy to use. And the problem with this one is that if I'm not close to it, you can't hear me as well. This is a microphone that this guy, Joe Rogan, uses for podcasting. This is a great microphone, but you got to be close to it. A Blue Yeti is better, especially when you're starting out because it's omnidirectional. You can be pretty far away from it as well. And my first 40 or so courses I did on Udemy, I recorded with a Blue Yeti that was about 3 feet below my mouth, and it still worked great. All right. And Kunal is saying, should a CEO of an early stage startup be paid less, or as a CEO of an early stage startup, should you emphasize receiving less salary? Yeah. So definitely less salary, definitely less, because the CEO of a startup is going to get a lot in terms of options anyway. And so right now, the going rate in Silicon Valley for CEOs and startups is between $175,000 and $200,000. It's very expensive to live in Silicon Valley. It's probably cheaper in other parts of the United States than that amount. And usually CEOs get at least a couple % equity in the company, at least, and a lot more if they're the founders of that company as well. So publicly traded company CEOs get a lot less in options and a heck of a lot more in salary. It's not uncommon for some CEOs to make $10, $20, $30 million a year through bonuses as well as through equity issuances. And it's interesting. It's kind of, I guess some people could think it's somewhat unethical, but CEOs, if they're doing a great job, they can issue themselves a ton of equity as well, additional options. Right. And the board usually doesn't care if the CEO is kicking ass and doing a great job. But a lot of CEOs will end up paying themselves and their staff, the senior C-level executives, a fortune every year in stock options. And what happens sometimes is they give a lot of employees stock options that they can only cash in every 4 years or so. So that they kind of have golden handcuffs. They can't leave, because if they leave, then they're leaving money on the table for the next couple of years.
Do CEOs get the highest salary as the position goes?
So yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So So Vitel's asking, is CEO get the highest salary? Absolutely. Yeah, by a mile. But there's some companies actually, like mid-sized companies, where salespeople can make more than CEOs because it's meritocracy. They eat what they kill, right? And if they fulfill all their quota and accelerators kick in, then they can get a lot more than the CEO. Yeah, it's a great question. Thank you. All right, next up, Kunal is saying, Kunal's got a question saying, I read that Aaron Levy, 4 years after he started Box, he was still living 2 blocks away from headquarters in a 1-bedroom apartment with no furniture except a mattress. Yeah, and a lot of very wealthy people are they're very cheap. Like the founder of IKEA, he apparently he still has the same car he had in the 80s. He has holes in his shoes. He uses plastic bags. And Warren Buffett still actually lives in the same house he bought, I think, back in the 1950s. Yeah, that's how they get there. That's how they get there. Yeah. All right. And in fact, a little side note here, but a lot of investors hate it when they go to startups' offices or established companies' offices if they're beautiful and really expensive, because it might imply that they're not fiscally responsible. Yeah. Okay. EJ is saying, do you have any suggestions on how to bridge the interest of finance and accounting and technology? I don't really want to make software, but I would like to do consulting. What should I look into? Yeah, you're basically me in my 20s. Yeah. So I went to go work at Accenture, and I became a programmer there, but you don't have to be a programmer. You can go to Accenture, work in their financial services division, advising big financial services firms, and you can work in process, right? Which is, it's not really as techy as coding, but you do a lot of work with data flow diagrams and that sort of thing. So check that out. Consulting might be good for you if you love technology and finance and accounting as well. Yeah, so check out Accenture. Or actually, you can even go work for Deloitte or any of the big accounting firms. They all have technology consulting divisions as well. All right. And Valenz is saying, what if you feel lost in life? How do you get it back, and how do you find the purpose in life? Yeah, that's a tough one. I tend to reassess where I am in life every couple of years, career-wise. And I've always gone on very long walks by myself, and I come up with my best business ideas and life decisions as well in my walks. And I got the idea from Steve Jobs and Larry Ellison. You know, Steve Jobs and Larry Ellison used to go on long walks together, together and by themselves sometimes. And they come up with a lot of great business and life decisions doing that, because what happens is you're isolated, and also you're releasing endorphins and serotonin. And if this is being fed, this will work a lot better. So I would try that. I would go for a long walk. And even Bill Gates, like what he does or used to do is he would walk around Microsoft, the hallways a lot, and he would always rock back and forth. Like you can see when he was testifying in 1999 in front of the DOJ, and he was on the stand, he was rocking back and forth when he was answering questions. He always does that because motion creates emotion and helps you think a lot better. It releases endorphins. So what I would say to you is, go on a very, very long walk by yourself and just reassess where you are in life. But I'd also write down your goals. I want you to kind of think about where you're going to be in 10 years. And then once you establish your highest expectations of yourself in 10 years and you document it, then I want you to work on filling that gap. And that's why in the MBA degree program thing I'm doing, as part of the application process, I wanted people to write down their goals in the essay. It wasn't just for myself and my team to take a look at, what you want to become in 10 years. But we wanted to help you get there as well, humbly, if we possibly can. And also, we're going to use part of that essay that you wrote as part of the curriculum, just for yourself, not for us. You'll see what I mean when we start the program, if you're involved. If you're not, this is not a sales tactic at all. You can take my my 30-day challenge to a more productive and much happier you course, because I do go through a goal setting workshop in there as well. And that will kind of help you to assess where you are in your life and where you want to be. And you also got to assess, are you happy doing what you're doing in life? If you're not, you got to find a way to change careers. And if I can humbly help you do that in any way, let me know. Or you can take other online courses that will help you retool as well. But if you get up in the morning, and I say it with the love of my heart to everybody, if you get up in the morning and you tell yourself you're going to work, then with all due respect, you're doing it wrong. You got to find your purpose, your passion. What was the reason I was put on this earth? And if you don't like what you're doing, nothing's stopping you from changing careers. You're not a tree, you can move. And if there's certain careers you want to talk about on this call, just ask me, and I'm more than happy to give my humble thoughts on how to make that transition. The last thing I'll say on this is the best way to change careers is to network a lot. And you can get my networking book for free from my website, Haroun Ventures. Network a lot, and that will help you change careers. And if you read the book, which is free, and you try to change careers and it still doesn't work for you, let me know, and we'll work on plan B together. Okay. But it can take time, man. Like Mark Twain said, the two most important days in your life are, number one, the day you're born, and number two, the day you find out why. And it took me till my 40s to realize that I'm passionate about teaching. That's my purpose. That's my passion in life. I love it. It's not a job. I love this. I love doing these calls. I live for this. It can take a while, though. It can take a while. You'll know when you find it, because you'll have this incredible sense of happiness that you never felt before. It's kind of like for those of you with kids, you remember the first time you held your child. Do you remember that unbelievable happiness you felt deep down? And you never knew you could feel that happy in life. When you find what is most passionate for you to do in life, you get a feeling like that. Not as good, because having kids is better than working, but it'll feel like that. And when you find that, you run after it. You run after it, and don't listen to anybody in your life telling you not to do that. Because those who don't mind, Dr. Seuss said, those who mind don't matter, and those who matter don't mind. Yeah, there you go. It's my Dr. Seuss quote of the day.
Chris, can I ask
Sure.
a question
Yep.
about that? Changing career.
Sure. Yeah.
So,
A question from our studio audience.
yeah,
Go on.
so for you, for instance,
Yeah.
you kind of had what it takes to just jump in another direction.
Yeah.
What about someone who maybe feels like,
Yeah.
oh, maybe I need to go to university again
Yeah.
and take some 3 years to
Yeah.
kind of feel like I have what it takes.
Yeah.
And yet I have also some other responsibilities that I have
Yeah.
to do, you
Yeah.
know?
Yeah, it all depends at what point you are in your life. So the question was, it might not be easy for all of us to change careers because we're all at different stages of our lives. We might have responsibilities for family, bills, whatnot, that sort of thing, right? Is that the question? Yeah. Okay, great. Yeah. There's always a way. There's always a way. You network like crazy. I promise you, somebody will give you a shot.
So
All you got to do is ask.
You would not advise to go back to school for
No.
Okay.
No. No. Only go back and get a degree from university if you've tried as much as you can to network to get another job, and you can't. Yeah, you got network like crazy. I promise you, you will all get what you want if you network like crazy. You just got to ask. It's like dating. And I'm the worst person to give dating advice. I suck at it. My wife's way out of my league. But, if I told you and told everyone on the call that if you asked out 50 people, they would say no, and the 51st would say yes, and you get ultimate joy for the rest of your life, would you do it?
Sure.
Of course you would. Most people give up at the fourth or fifth person. Yeah. So networking is like dating. You just got to keep at it and keep failing. Every time you fail, you get closer and closer to ultimate success. And we just all have to tell ourselves we don't care what anybody thinks of us. You know what I mean? Yeah. You know what I mean? Just live your life on your own terms. Never be someone else's prisoner in your mind. And yeah. And you guys all know that triangle of despair graph. Okay, I won't go there again. Yeah. All right. Thank you. I'm excited, man. We have our first studio audience.
It's so much fun.
It's great, yeah. And this is a piece of the Berlin Wall here. If anybody has questions about it, it's pretty cool. I could have got the ones that weren't painted. They were a lot cheaper. I thought this is kind of cool. A little bit of color. It goes with the light I threw in the background there too. All right. Next up is Julie. Julie, you asked me a bunch of questions over YouTube. I didn't answer. If you don't mind, ask them again. I missed them this week. I'm so sorry for not getting back to you. Julie is saying, Guten Tag. Hello to you too. How many times have you been to Germany? Okay, and you got a bunch of questions here. Yeah, so I've been to Germany a lot. I've been to Munich just to go to technology conferences. I used to go to Waldorf, which is just outside of Frankfurt, an hour and a half drive from Frankfurt. I went there a lot, actually, to meet with Henning Kagermann, who's the CEO of SAP, and a bunch of other people that work at SAP over the years. I used to be an investor in SAP, a great German software company. And then your next question is, what is your favorite German food? What was that thing? Schnitzel. But no, I had something yesterday that was it was like a schnitzel, but it was curry. It's like curry and a schnitzel.
Oh, maybe
Some sort of fusion. About-
braten, also
I can't even say it. Yeah.
Braten. Yeah.
Dude, every German word's like that long.
Yeah.
Yeah. So somebody told me the name of a scientist in German is like, translated in English is like he who takes things and is able to alter them and blow them up. Like it's this long. It's like 87 characters or something. Excuse my ignorance. Yeah. No, but the food is good here, man. Yeah. It was good. Yeah. So that's my favorite food. I had this curry schnitzel thing, which is good. It was good. Excellent. Oh wow. So Julie Marx is living in Stuttgart as well. Yeah. That's awesome. Very cool. Fantastic. Excellent. Okay. I've not been there. She's asking how I've been. I've not been there. Where in Stuttgart? Where do you live in Stuttgart?
in Stuttgart Mitte, in Weidemdorf.
Weidemdorf?
Yeah.
Okay, in Weidemdorf. Yeah. Cool. Very cool. Excellent. And I'm saying it right now, like
Yeah,
Stuttgart.
It's perfect. Yeah,
Stuttgart. Okay, cool. Thank
Actually,
you.
are pronouncing it perfect.
Cool.
like
Thank you.
Germans.
Thank you. Yeah. Okay. Very cool. Andrew Dupree from Toronto. You, me, and Dupree. How are you, Andrew? I met with Andrew at University of Toronto in Mississauga a couple months ago. It's great to meet him. Andrew's writing, geez, people, sleep in. Happy Thanksgiving, Chris. Is there electricity at your home? Now, thanks for asking, brother. I appreciate it. Oh, that's right. It's Thanksgiving in Canada now.
Oh,
I think so. It must, yeah.
from the
Yeah,
Thanksgiving
thanks.
in the
Yeah,
US.
Thanksgiving in Canada is 6 weeks earlier than the U.S. because the harvest is earlier in Canada because it's cold, eh? Yeah. And then thank you, Andrew, for asking. He's asking, is there electricity at my home? Thanks for asking. So what happened was in the state of California, a couple 100,000 people don't have access to electricity. PG&E, which is one of the utility companies, they shut down electricity for a ton of homes because a fire might break out. There's some issue with the grid we don't fully understand. We're kind of worried about it, but we're fine. And I checked in with Christine, and I had her go down to my studio, and I have 3 APC batteries owned by Schneider Electric, actually, great German company. And so she's got those ready just in case. But we do have power as of now at our house. But thanks for asking. Yeah. All right. And then Julie is saying, what are you looking forward to at Udemy Live this year? Are you presenting? I'm not presenting, no. I'm just looking forward to talking to other teachers and learning stuff. Like there's so many little things that I don't know about how to teach online that I learned from other teachers that have been teaching way, way longer than I have. Yeah, it's fun too. It's fun. Yeah, this is my 4th Udemy Live now. Yeah, it's the first one that's outside of San Francisco. So it's about time it's overseas. This is great. This is fun. All right, next up, we've got Rohit. Rohit is saying, I'm reading this book called The Four by Scott Galloway. It's about Amazon, Facebook, Google, and Apple, and how literally they captured the world and became monopolies. It talks about how these 4 firms all don't have any other competition than each other. If there is, they just acquire them. They are today's John D. Rockefeller, except there's 4 of them. Yeah, that's interesting. Thank you for telling me about that. I think it was Jim Cramer on CNBC used to call them the 4 horsemen. I think what's going to happen eventually is Amazon is going to be broken up into 2 different companies. One's going to be a software company, which basically is Amazon Web Services, which is the most important software platform on the planet, in my humble opinion. And the other portion is going to be just the retail side. And then I guess the software side will get, Kindle, Alexa, and all that stuff as well. Amazon is a force to be reckoned with. It's so powerful. It's amazing. And they still keep prices low. It's incredible. Most monopolies get lazy and, pardon me, they raise prices or they don't innovate. But Jeff Bezos is just, he's a workhorse. He has everybody innovate all the time, which is amazing. But I do think that company will be broken up. And there's been saber rattling recently, unfairly, between the Trump administration and Jeff Bezos. But I think it's only a matter of time until the DOJ takes a look at them, kind of like what they did with Microsoft circa 1999. Yeah. In terms of Apple, thank God we have Android, dude. Otherwise, we'd all have to pay for iOS upgrades. Like I remember, I used to pay for software. I used to actually pay for operating systems years ago. Do you mind getting that? Is that okay? Sorry, might be somebody else joining us in our studio audience here. But yeah, if it weren't for Android, I don't think we'd see all the incredible innovation we have right now with iOS. Yeah. In terms of Google, the EU is always trying to, break them up. But yeah. And then Facebook. I don't think Facebook's a monopoly. I just think it's just a big social media platform that's people don't really trust as they used to. I don't use it as much as I used to. There's a reason why they bought Instagram. The younger generation doesn't use Facebook, and I won't go there. Yeah. Who was at the door? Okay. All right. Cool. Thanks. Thank you. All right. Next up is Julie is saying, in your YouTube course, you advocate for thumbnails. Yes. This seems very time consuming. It is. What are your thoughts about the Kylie Jenners of the world that don't make thumbnails yet? They have huge impressions. Yeah. So they're very well recognized personalities. So just putting their face up on something is good enough. And they just kind of have to just point at something and it works for them. For the rest of us, I think that making thumbnails makes a lot of sense. Yeah. Oh, thumbnails is it's the image. Yeah. Actually, I debated that because Sasha and I made the course, and I debated with Sasha. I was like, we should just call it YouTube Images. Okay. She's like, no, thumbnails. I'm like, yeah, totally, yeah. No. It's the thumbnails. Yeah. And actually, I have Wrigley helping me with mine now, which helps a lot. Yeah. Thank you, Wrigley. Love you, brother. All right, and you too, Matt. Matt also works with me. All right. And then Kunal is saying, Bill Gates said that his biggest mistake was letting Android, owned by Alphabet, become the leader in the mobile phone market. Have you ever faced anything like this? For example, you passed a great investment in a company or something like that. Like even Gary Vaynerchuk says that his biggest mistake was not investing in Uber. I remember he said that. Yep. When he was one of the seed funding investors. Yeah, I've had situations like that. You know, I'll never forget. It was January 2012, and there was this company, Pinterest, which not many people had heard of at the time. And it was very secretive, and nobody knew where they were in Palo Alto. And I saw a picture of the outside of their building. And I carried that picture all over Palo Alto. I walked everywhere, and I found it. And I walked in, and there's this really nice guy, a polite guy named Evan Sharp, who is the co-founder of Pinterest. And I went up to him and I said, I really love your product. I love your company. I'm using it a lot more than Facebook. And he was so nice. He said, oh, I'm so humbled by that, as he read my business card. And I remember the office, it was probably the size of my hotel room here, maybe even smaller. And there's 20 monitors and a bunch of young people walking around. And I wasn't aggressive enough going after that round. And Andreessen Horowitz, another great venture capital firm, ended up doing the round the next month. I didn't follow up. So that one kind of hurt. Yeah, but it happens. All right. Next up is Julie, who's saying, how do you handle taxes as far as being a Udemy instructor? Does Udemy issue a 1099 MISC? And how's it handled with selling to students located outside of the U.S. and in other countries? Yeah. Udemy does provide us with tax forms, and they just changed the process as well to make it a little bit more streamlined. And I'm still learning a little bit more about that right now, but they've got our best interest in mind, as always. But the way it works with all big online companies, like eBay issues me a 1099 as well, and other companies as well. When I used to do Airbnb in my house years ago, I would also get a 1099 from them as well, a tax document. Yeah. Now, in terms of taxes in other countries, a lot of times it's already deducted, and I don't really have to think about it very much. And so Udemy has an e-commerce engine that allows people to pay in every currency in the world. And I really don't have to worry about it that much. When I get my tax forms, I just give them to my accountant, and my accountant takes care of it. Yeah, I'm sure somebody else is more sophisticated than I am, can answer that question a little bit better than I can. Okay, Rohit is saying, do you know what a sales engineer is? Meaning pre-sales, post-sales. I do. Is sales a good starting point in your professional career after undergrad? You always say that all business people are great salesmen. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. And Robin, who's here in our studio audience here, he started out selling healthcare products before he started his company. And that was a great experience for him. Probably better than any education you'd get, right, in university, being able to sell. Yeah, absolutely. And so you mentioned here also, what is pre-sales? And so what happens is if you're selling a product that's a little bit complicated, like say you're a salesperson at a big software company like Oracle, if you're a salesperson, you'll have somebody that will kind of help you with that sales process. Maybe that person's a little bit more technical than you are, and that's called pre-sales. And they partner with you to be able to sell that product. In terms of post-sales, I guess from a generic perspective, it's just after-sales service. Yeah. All right. But yeah, I think any time you can get a job in sales as a younger person, I think it's a great thing to do because you'll never create an amazing company unless you learn how to sell, sell yourself and sell your product. And people usually do business with people they can, kind of identify with. And even myself, when I invest in startups, I'll look for a CEO, founder that's really sales focused. Somebody can get me really excited about their company because I know their business model is going to change a lot in the next couple of years. It always does for early stage startups. Can they sell the new vision to me? I think of myself as a customer of theirs when they're first pitching to me. Do I get excited as a potential customer? All right. And Lamarck is saying, hi, Chris. Hey, bud. I hope all is well. It's so nice to learn from you again. Thank you. Thanks, man. It's great to be here. It's great to be here in Berlin, man. This is awesome. This is fun. Andrew Dupree is saying there's a new Columbia Business School article about editorial saying why the most successful executives are also great learners. Yeah. And also great listeners, I think. Yeah. I get bored, man, when I'm not learning. I used to think that was a big weakness of mine. But I have this unquenchable, thirst for knowledge. When I'm watching movies, I always go Wikipedia on my iPad in my lap. I'm curious about, the actors and where they came from. And dude, the crazy thing is most movies I watch now, a lot of the great actors are from England. They're British, but they put on an American accent perfectly. You don't see that the other way around unless you're Johnny Depp. It's amazing. Yeah. And then Rohit's saying Whiplash. Oh, dude, I love that movie. Whiplash is a great movie. What I did actually, and Wrigley, who works with me as my chief operating officer and head of business development, he was a student in my first class I taught at San Francisco State. And I showed a clip from the movie Whiplash. And the reason I showed it in that class, and it was that jerk drum teacher yelling at the student. The reason I showed it was to say, if you're frustrated at work and you're being treated poorly, I want you to channel that frustration and turn that frustration into, you starting your own company. And I felt like I was whiplashed like that, not to the same extent, but really treated poorly by somebody I worked for at Accenture years ago. He was an associate partner from the Orange County office. I can't say his name, is killing me, but I'm thinking of his name right here. But I want to thank him for being such a douchebag to me. Because if it weren't for that, I would never have started my own company. Yeah. Now I have to read your question. Sorry. I was excited when you wrote the word Whiplash. That guy got Best Supporting Actor for that movie too. Rohit writes, Whiplash is a great movie about obsession and passion. It's sort of a cautionary tale or a success story, depending upon the perspective. Highly recommend it. It's very inspirational. Yeah. And that guy, the main actor, every movie he's in kicks ass. I can't remember his name right now, but he's great. He was in this fighting movie recently. It was awesome. And he gets obsessed with his roles too. And even in the movie Whiplash, he was bleeding in some of those scenes. I think that was real actually from the drumstick. So yeah, nice touch at the end too when he saw his father. All right, Lamarck is saying, you said in your course on personal finance that you do not invest in a stock that is not liquid. Yeah. How much average volume do you consider to determine if a stock is not liquid? Yeah. So you never want to buy a stock that is illiquid. Otherwise, that stock owns you in a down market. And a lot of hedge funds went belly up in late 2008 because they bought really illiquid stocks and they couldn't sell them fast enough. So usually what I look for is I like to get out of any stock within an hour or so. So I make sure that stock trades enough in that day divided by 8 hours so that dollar amount is what I can sell if I want to. If I'm working at a big institution, like a mutual fund or a hedge fund, I usually look at, can I get out in one day if possible? Yeah.
Liquid stock.
Oh, liquid. Oh, sorry. Liquidity is it's a finance term for how fast you can get in or out of something. Yeah. So if there are a lot of shares, they say it trades like water. It's liquid. Yeah. And if it's really illiquid, they say it trades by appointment. Okay. Yeah. Okay. And Lamarck is, and for those of you just joining us, we have a studio audience here in Berlin. It's pretty fun. It's cool. And Lamarck is saying, how much impact does the GDP have to consumer staples, meaning defensive sector? So I would say not as much as other sectors. So for those of you that aren't familiar with consumer staples, it's a type of stock, for example, or company that sells stuff that is recession proof. Like, for example, Campbell's Soup, ticker CPB, usually has a nice dividend yield. It's usually countercyclical. I used to buy a lot of Campbell's Soup during recessions because it outperformed. So I would say it's somewhat recession proof. I don't think consumer staples really are that much impacted by the swings in GDP. And GDP, for those who are not familiar with that basically means revenue for a country, gross domestic product. Yeah. All right. And so there's also consumer discretionary, which basically means non-staples, stuff that you'd buy less of when the economy's not doing as well. Okay. And Rohit is saying, while you were on the Wall Street killing it at hedge funds, I don't know about that, did you not have an ambition to become a billionaire? I did. How did you handle the keeping up with the Joneses mindset? Yeah. I chase money. And dude, no one's happy that chases money. Even these billionaires, a lot of them aren't that happy, and their kids are even more miserable. You chase money, you lose your dreams and your heart. Yeah, but I was tempted for a while. I'm much happier now not doing that. Yeah. And it feels good to be able to create something. I know that you're creating value when you work on Wall Street, but it kind of, I don't know, there's something was missing. Like, if I didn't go to school, I'd probably want to be a builder or something. Kind of feels cool, like when you're done a Lego house and I play with my kids. It feels good, kind of cool to look at it. I like building courses. It's fun for me. Next up is Julie. Julie is saying, if you're a startup and have a 23-year-old right hand and you want to groom this person into a manager, but they don't see themselves as good at managing new hires, do you still try to convince them? Let me think about that. I think you have to teach them, but they have to want to do it as well. They have to understand that they won't be able to progress in your company or any company without understanding how to manage people. And the problem with a lot of companies, for example, on Wall Street, if you're an amazing trader and you make a company a lot of money, management assumes you can manage people. So therefore you become a manager, and it's a catastrophe a lot of the time. Just because you're good at skill X doesn't mean you can manage people that are good at that can do skill X as well. Management is a discipline you really have to learn. Yeah. And I have a course on how to motivate and how to delegate. Check those courses out if you want to. Those are my 2 cornerstone management courses. Yeah, and I'm making much more for the MBA degree program coming out soon. Next up is, and you can also, Julie, send them away for training as well. You can send them away for you can go to 5-day seminars on how to manage as well. There's tons of courses like that out there. Yeah. All right. Rohit is saying, could a government force to break up big tech companies like Google, Amazon, etc., like they did with John D. Rockefeller Standard Oil Company? Do you think this could happen? Absolutely. It's going to happen. It has to happen. Otherwise, innovation, won't occur. Like Microsoft, people don't realize this, but when I was a programmer back in the 90s, which I loved, when I was a programmer, Microsoft had 95% market share of the operating system market. 95%. It was crazy. And there wasn't that much innovation because of that. Microsoft did a great job. They made a lot of money for investors. I loved using their products. I still do, although I use Mac more so now. But because of that, there was no innovation. There was really no innovation for a number of years. And eventually what happened with Microsoft Windows is it became bloatware. And probably what's emblematic of this and the downfall of that operating system, so to speak, or the slight downtick, I should say, is Vista. It was an absolute disaster, that operating system, back in 2007 or so. But no, I think Amazon will be broken up. It's just a matter of time. And I think Google will get more regulated by the EU. And I love the EU because they have our privacy concerns at heart, which is awesome, which is great. Yeah. And by the way, when it comes to Standard Oil, so a lot of people don't realize that Esso, which is a gas station in America, ESSO, it actually used to be part of Standard Oil. And Esso is a play on the letters S and oil, Standard Oil, even though it's spelled ESSO. All right. And Andrew is saying leaders must make adjustments as the world changes, and lifelong learners are best poised to make a difference. Paul Ingram. I love it. I love it. Yeah, that's a great quote, man. Let me take a snapshot of that. Thank you. I love quotes. Okay. Oh, Akil in the house. How are you, buddy? Great to have you, Akil. I love your questions, brother. Rhoda is saying, how do you manage to be so calm and patient? It's all an act. Were you hot-headed in childhood and then later became cool and calm with experience? No, I've always been this demeanor, kind of laid back. Yeah. No, it's just my dad's a lot like this. He's just laid back. Yeah. And A Mercy is saying, good morning, Chris. Thursday morning has become the high spot of my weekly schedule. Thank you. Me too. Thanks for your generosity in creating this forum. Thank you. And thanks for being a part of this as well. You all inspire me so much. Okay. Whoops. I just skipped somewhere. Hold on a second. Okay. And Prit is saying hi. What up, Prit? How are you? Rohit is saying, who do you admire? Who are your role models in business, Chris? My dad. My dad, number one by a billion miles. He's great. He's like a father to me. Also, Bill Gates as well, but more so for what Bill Gates has done after Microsoft. He seems so much happier now. What he and Melinda are doing with the Bill Gates Foundation, or Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, is amazing. I know everything about Bill Gates. Like I watched the Netflix show, the 3-part documentary. I knew everything already, pretty much. I read every book written about him back in the early 90s. I read everything about him. I knew everything about that guy. He was an incredible role model. Yeah, the guy's amazing. Aside from that, other role models in business, I mean, I like Mark Benioff a lot. I look up to him because, Salesforce is his company. It's the biggest employer in San Francisco. It's cloud software. But what Mark Benioff does is 1% of profits in his company he gives to charity, 1% of products he gives to charity, and 1% of every employee's time goes to charity as well. And he donates a lot to a lot of good causes, and he's very vocal as well. Yeah. So I really look up to him a lot. Yeah. All right. And Harshit is saying, sir, how do you manage time? So the best way I manage time is scheduling. And I've talked about this in previous webcasts. I won't go there. But if you want to get my daily schedule that I fill out every night, you can go to harounventures.com/schedule, all lowercase. You can download it in PowerPoint format. The busier you are, the more stuff you'll get done. If you want to get something done, give it to a busy person. So I think the most successful people in the world schedule every single day, except for weekends. And for those of you in my MBA degree program, I'm creating a schedule on steroids that works on multiple platforms, and I can't wait to share it all with you. I'm working hard on that. Yeah. All right. Next up is in our studio audience. If you guys have questions, let me know. Oh, you've got. Let me see. He's using it.
I'm using it.
Can I? Is there anything personal to that? Can I show it?
Yeah.
Oh, you sure? Okay, cool. Okay, great. Wow, man. So Robin, who's in our studio audience, is using it. The daily schedule. Let me switch to camera B over here. But Harsha, it looks like this, right? Sorry about the lighting. I have the lighting here perfect. I'll try and do it shadow based. Yeah, but anyway, you can download this. Actually, that's even worse. This is a better angle here. You can download it at harounventures.com/schedule. Thank you for doing that, man.
Yes, I
Good
use
for
it
you.
every day. It's
That's
a really
awesome. Can I read your education goal?
Yeah.
You want to learn Russian?
Yes, I actually.
You're learning. Oh, very cool, man.
Yes.
That's awesome. Well, my North Star goal, is meeting Chris. Thank you so much for that. I appreciate that. God bless you. God bless you. This is so cool, man. A lot of love in the room. This is great. This is great. Thank you. Very cool. I can't wait to show you all the MBA one, though. The schedule thing. It's sick. And I actually also made another version in Microsoft OneNote, which I'm going to show you guys, because you can use that on every platform, and it updates in real time. It's cool. I'll show you guys later. I don't want to spoil it. Yeah. Thank you for that. Thank you. I'm touched. Okay. All right. Next up, we've got Andrew Dupree is saying, to clarify last week's question, would one say that the format LinkedIn is the new alumni association? Has LinkedIn in part or whole replaced alumni associations? I think so. And Andrew, it's interesting that you mentioned this up in Canada, because McGill University, I'm Hori, to share email addresses with different students and different alumni because of Quebec provincial privacy laws. And there's other similar rules like that in the rest of Canada as well. And so what's happening is a lot of Canadian universities and educational institutions, instead of developing their own alumni association organically on their own website for privacy rules, and I don't understand it completely, they're actually relying on LinkedIn. But I think you're right. LinkedIn is now the de facto alumni system. That's how I access everybody that I went to school with. I just go to LinkedIn. I figure they'll be there. I never go to my web address of the other schools I went to. All right. Jasmine is saying, hi, Chris. Good morning. Good morning to you, too. And then Danios, who's from Alberta, from Banfifa, is saying, good morning, everyone. Hoping you're all having a great week so far. Thank you. Good morning to you, too. Samina is saying, hi, Chris. Welcome to Europe. Again, I hope you're having fun. I am. I love this place. It's awesome. It's awesome. Very cool. And then we've got Mathan is saying, hi, Chris. Love from India. Well, love from Germany. Right back at you. And Melody, who's from Georgia, I think, right? Melody is saying, what a cool looking background. Hope you're having a good time in Berlin. Thank you. This background actually is it's a light I bought. And it's GVM, which stands for Great Video Maker, and it's real cool, man. You can just you twist it and you can change the colors, right? So I think we'll go. What color should we do now? We'll go blue. How's that? The Schlumpf, Smurfs, right? Yeah, that's what you say here? Schlumpf. Schlumpf. That's Smurfs. Okay, right. Cool. Oh, I got to show you guys something else. All right. So for posture, this is my new favorite thing here, okay? This here, you can buy these things where you can kind of prop up your laptop. This thing here, it's really sturdy. It fits in my suitcase here, my carry-on. And what you do is you open it up. And I use this for my laptop. And dude, it is sturdy as hell. It's amazing. It's the name of the product, I never get compensated for anything, is Boyata, Boyata. I recommend everybody looking to getting something like this, if you travel especially. Because when I'm in the airplane, I'm typing, it hurts my back. I just use it like this. So, yeah. Oh, it's the door. Somebody else coming. Yeah. Thanks. So anyway, Boyata, check it out. It's pretty cool. Is that, what is that? Oh, it's not mine. No, it's all right. No, it's okay. Don't worry about it. Yeah. It's just, it's fine.
Okay, I'll put it here.
Okay, yeah, no, whatever you want to do. Thanks. One more, I got to show you guys one more thing. You're going to think I'm crazy, okay? And this happens when you get older, right? People think carpal tunnel and it kind of hurts, whatever, when you're working. But when I put my arms down on tables, it starts to hurt, and I want to enjoy working, right? So I bought these things. They're called Gelbos, right? You laugh at me, not with me, but these are awesome. And you put them on the table. They're soft, and then you I don't know, kind of cool. It makes it more fun to work. So anyway, that's my new thing is Gelbos, and then this Boyata thing, which is it just makes working remotely especially more fun. All right. All right, let me see the next question here. All right. And then Charlie is saying, the MBA in one course is awesome. Just finished chapter 13. Thank you for that. I appreciate that. I recorded that entire thing in one day. I set the camera up and I went all one day. And it was right after I taught it the day before to this, in East Palo Alto, this charity I'm a part of, the Limo Foundation. Yeah, it was fun. And when I first put the camera up in my bedroom, my wife saw it. She said, "Honey, this is not happening." Right? I've used that joke before. Sorry. Yeah. For teaching only. Yeah. All right. And then Solly is saying, "Hey Chris, hey man, how are you, buddy?" And then Kanal is saying, "Hey Robin and Evitel." Okay. There's no E. No, he wrote that though. I hope I pronounced it correctly. He wrote, yeah. And then Ibrahim is saying, "Good morning, Chris. Good morning." Is from Melbourne. Dude, we have someone from Melbourne now. How cool is that? That's wild. Jason, where are you from? Are you from Sydney, Jason? Jason's from there as well. Yeah. All right. And then, no, it's Vital. Vital. Yeah. All right. You see that too?
Yeah.
Oh, you see it too? Okay, you're looking at. Okay, cool, excellent. Okay. And then Sully's saying, "I wish I would be there as well. I wish you're here too as well." So, and Sully, thank you so much for all the wonderful YouTube comments you've left over the past 6 months. I appreciate that. Thank you. And then David is saying, "Guten Morgen, guten Abend, Chris. Wie geht's es dir?" What does that mean?
Well, how are you doing?
Oh, I'm good, thanks. I'm good.
Geht's mir gut.
Yeah, good. Yeah. I took business German when I was an undergrad. I'm not kidding when I say this. I dropped the course because I was really hungover. I called one day because there was an exam. That was 1991 in the fall.
Wow.
And I remember saying, "How do you spell that? Wie buchstabiert man das?"
Yeah.
Is that right?
Yeah,
That's all I remember. How do you spell that? That's it.
right.
That's it. And der Tour is a clock? Was it what? Ur Tour. Yeah. The hard thing about German is every word it was feminine or masculine.
Yes.
Right?
Or
Yeah.
neutral.
Or neutral. Like in English, I can't even think about remembering each word being male or female.
That's the hard part.
Yeah. It makes it hard.
German. I'm not,
Yeah.
It's not my mother
Yeah.
tongue.
Like rock. What is rock male or female?
Stein.
Stein?
It's male.
Male.
Yeah, der Stein.
Stein. Interesting. Well, in French, it's Pierre, because of Peter was a rock with Jesus' disciple. Yeah. It's interesting. Yeah. Yeah.
And it's feminine actually in French, I guess.
Pierre?
No,
La Roche?
La Roche?
I don't even know. I'm embarrassed, man. I spoke French before English in school. I'm embarrassed. I don't even know. Yeah. My French is awful. Yeah. All right. Guten Abend to you too, David. And Juan is saying, "Good morning, my friend. Good morning to you too, Juan. I'm from Venezuela. I love the content. Would love to do the MBA. Thank you. Appreciate that, Juan." And Juan, actually, for the very first case study in finance that I'm working on right now, or one of the first ones, I actually bought a bunch of Venezuelan fuerte currency, which is no longer in circulation, of course, for just one of the case studies. Interesting. Yeah. I'm trying to be global with it as well. Thank you. And then Mafudi is saying, "Good morning, Chris, and the two gentlemen. How do you determine how much equity to give when raising early seed investments?" So you have to, first of all, value your company, right? So if you value your company at, say, $1 million and somebody gives you $100,000, they get 10%. You never want to value your company too high, ever early on. Because what happens is nobody else will invest ever again. Because the early investors will never let you invest at a lower level. And I talk about this in my entire MBA in one course. You want to keep it at a low enough level so that you can always be able to raise more in the future. Yeah. All right. And try your best not to give up too much to the company, man. There's nothing worse than, working your ass off for years on your baby. It's like one of your children, and then having the board take it away from you. So just be careful and never raise debt. And I talked about why in previous webcasts as well. All right. Okay. And Ibrahim is saying, I wanted to ask, I'm completing a bachelor's in human resources this year, and I wanted to work next year. However, some friends told me if I do an MBA program, I will get more opportunities. How do I know if it's the right course for me? Thanks, Hassan. So what I recommend in general is just go to LinkedIn and see where people have ended up that went to certain schools and did certain programs afterwards, and maybe meet with them as well. And my humble thought process on MBAs is you should only do it in a school, that is, if you've tried very, very, very hard to network to get a job and you can't get that job. That's why. That's why. That's the only reason I would say to do it. Yeah. All right. All right. Next up is Julie. Julie, thanks so much, guys. It's the door again. Yeah. Julie is saying, can you connect me to your guest from Stuttgart? I would love to network with a like-minded Chris fan / follower. Thank you. Absolutely. How do you want to do this?
Yeah, we can.
Do you want email or something?
I just tell her that I connected with her to LinkedIn.
Oh, perfect. Okay. So, and you wrote that in the.
No, I can't write because I don't have premium.
Oh, you don't have premium? What? On LinkedIn?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. But you guys can connect to each other?
I sent her.
Oh, okay. Okay. So Julie, this is so awesome. We're networking here together. Julie, you can reach out over LinkedIn, and he'll accept the request.
So I did.
Oh, you requested her. Okay.
To her?
Oh, he sent the request to you already.
Yes.
Okay. Perfect.
Yes.
Perfect. Who was that?
He asked if you want some.
Oh, no. That's fine. That's fine. That's okay. Thanks. All right. Thank you. Very cool. So I was just some crazy at the door. We're good though. We're good. That's awesome that Julie and Abdel are connecting.
Yeah,
Very
so
cool.
We can make a Chris fan.
Oh
Stuttgart
no,
club.
gosh, I don't know that everybody hates Chris. There's a TV show called that.
No.
Yeah, there is in America.
Can reverse it.
No.
Fan club of Chris.
Fan club.
No, please. Everybody hates Chris.
No.
All right. All right. Next up is Melody is saying, how do you prepare for a resignation if you're the one quitting? Wow. I hope this is you quitting to teach online. Yeah, I remember, Melody, you said you were a teacher. And yeah. Or maybe it's just more of a generic statement for somebody else, a friend of yours. Yeah. So just know that whenever you're resigning, you might need to use your boss or whoever you're resigning to as a reference in the future. So you want to be as collegial and thoughtful about it as possible and give a 2-week notice, at least 2 weeks. And that 2 weeks, within that 2 weeks, you tell them you'll help to find somebody to replace you or somebody else in the company to take your tasks. That's what I would do. And when you sit down and tell them, do it one-on-one, obviously. But you also want to say positive things about the company. I've really enjoyed, if it's true at all, whatever. I've really enjoyed working with you. I've learned a lot about this, and this. However, it's very expensive. I'm making this up to raise a family here in Atlanta. And as a result, I've got an offer from another company that will help me to be able to pay the bills a little bit better here. And by the way, a little side note here, you never quit when you know you're leaving anyway. And if you always want to get a certain role in the company you're currently working at, there's no shame in asking for that role when you're leaving. And a lot of times they can counter. They can counter as well. So, ask and you'll receive. If you don't ask, you'll never get. So, yeah. But I'm not all about writing a letter of resignation and stuff. I think that's kind of old school. In a lot of bigger companies, what they'll do is they'll have you do an exit interview with human resources, and they'll just ask you a bunch of questions, whatever. But just try to always leave on the best terms you possibly can, even if you're leaving because you can't stand where you work. Just because the only thing you take with you from one job to another is your reputation. Yeah. All right. Rohit is saying, I have a question for the in-person audience. Hey, this question for you guys. How did you start your company after college? That's Robin, for Robin, I think. What services does your company provide? Tell us about it. All right, come on up here. Why don't you have a seat? I'm going to get up and stretch my legs for a second. Yeah.
Oh wow.
All right. Oh, okay. We can do that.
So, hi guys. I'm Robin, and how we started our company. It basically was I was studying creative technology in university, and people heard that I make websites and that I learned stuff about technology, and that we that I know things about it, and so he said or so he asked, can you do a website for me, because he also had like his own business, and he basically just looked for a cheap way to get a website, and I said sure, I can do that. Then I asked just a friend of mine to help me with it, and so we made the first website, and we also charged for it, obviously not that much back then. And then my friend got another request, like to make a video for someone. He's very good at videography, and so he asked me to help him, and that's how we started out. So we were basically still studying and doing some things on the side, like then it went that somebody had a product, and so we looked at how can you implement an online shop also. And we just learned on the go, and it's basically, with our first project we were always quite cheap because we were learning it while doing it, and then we could increase the prices over time with every client. Basically, we every new client we could increase the price, and now we are just two guys. We work with a lot of freelancers from Upwork or Fiverr, which are two websites. When you have a lot of work to do, you can outsource things, and that's how it started. And basically we are growing it now. We are still just two because we want to keep costs low, but I'm also joining Chris's MBA course in order to grow it and to learn more about business and to make it successful and big in the end, and to provide a lot of value for our clients. So I think that's just how it happened, basically.
Yeah. And he's asking what services do you provide?
Yes, our services are we build websites, we build online shops. That's our core service. Then around it, we also provide Facebook ads, or we make some Google advertising if the client wants it. In some cases it makes sense. In others it doesn't. It needs to be like for super high expensive products, like we do also ourselves, because a website is not something you buy for 200 or 300 euros or dollars. You pay like a few thousand for it. Then it doesn't make sense to make just Facebook advertising. Then you need to go to LinkedIn or to find some websites which are crappy or not that good, like technically or from the content or anything, and then you just write them and ask like, hey, I have a few suggestions for you. Do you want a free consulting call with me? And so I go and tell them what they can improve. And in the end, I just ask like, I told you now everything, and either you can do it yourself, and that's completely fine with me, but you should do it because you should be GDPR compliant, for example, especially like in Germany, that's a thing, and all these other things. And then he decides either he can do it himself, or he says like, no, I don't have time, or I don't want to do this, or maybe he hires somebody else. But in like our main focus is on helping the people work with the internet in a good way and use all the possibilities they have, because there are so many small businesses which can stay alive if they use the internet in the right way, and if they don't, they will just get bankrupt. So we are helping out there.
That's awesome. Oh,
Yeah.
very cool.
So a long answer, but hope it helps.
It's awesome.
Or
Thank you,
it's
man.
interesting.
Appreciate that, bud.
Yeah.
Very cool.
Sure.
Great, man. Good job.
That's great. Good question. Good question. It's awesome. Well spoken too, man. Nice. Excellent. Hey, Haroun MBA. Hey? We don't fuck around. For school, yeah? That was cool. Thanks. I didn't swear in your interview though, right? No, okay, good. That was good. Excellent. All right, cool. All right, next up, Charlie is saying, Chris, thanks for the info to your audience. Oh, my pleasure. Wrigley, if Wrigley works with me, how is the quality on the call? I just want to know. I saw a little red mark in the corner there in the software. I think it's fine. Actually, I can ask you guys. Yeah, sure. Is it okay? Is it buffering or is it?
No,
we're good?
Sometimes it's coming a bit late.
Late, okay. Yeah.
Otherwise,
all right, yeah. Damn. And I requested here in this hotel to get the best, the fastest room with internet, whatever. Okay. All right. I'll keep answering questions here. All right. Next up is Luis is saying, hi, Chris. Hey, Luis. And the question is, how would you build a steady monthly income based only in passive investments like the stock market investments when profits are usually projected in the long term and dividends aren't always distributed? Yeah. It's tough to have something meaningful doing that initially unless you save up for a long period of time. You can take my complete personal finance course, but if you invest and have money automatically taken out of your paycheck every single month, then it in a matter of maybe a decade or so, you'll start getting meaningful monthly dividend payments. It takes a while, though. It really does. And the earlier you start investing, the better. So that the goal is that by the time you retire, if that's something you want to do, that you can live off just the interest on your investments. Yeah. It takes a while. Okay. All right. Referral group and no one is referring you. Huh. You're going to have to give me a little bit more color, a little bit more details on that, of what you mean by that exactly, please. Thanks. Okay. Next one is, good morning, Chris. Good morning. Just a quick question. I've asked a question regarding a section on your financial analyst course on the Q&A. Do you know when you can reply back? As soon as I can. So I'm in Germany. If I might be a day or so late because I'm here. I'm so sorry, but I'll get back to it tonight. How's that? Okay. All right. Usually I answer questions within 2 days or so. I've been traveling. Sorry about that. Yeah. All right. Next up is Lamarck. Hi, Chris. How long did you run your hedge fund and why did you close it? Yeah, I ran it for, it was really unhealthy. I remember in the fall of 2008, we had a good year, relative to everybody else. And I remember in the month of October, we made a lot of money. And I would come into work and I would hope that, banks would declare bankruptcy because I would short them. And that wasn't healthy. You know what I mean? It's not healthy, coming into work and trying to profit from, people losing their jobs and stuff. So it didn't feel right to me. It felt dirty. Yeah. And I wasn't passionate about it. And I wanted to be a longer term investor. So I morphed the company into a bit more of a venture capital firm. I did an investment in Facebook and I was more interested in venture capital. I like longer term investing better. Yeah. All right. Next up is, what strategy did you focus on at your hedge fund? So I did something a little bit different, which helped me a lot to raise money. I didn't want to just invest in tech stocks. I wanted to invest in something different. So I invested in technology and cyclical companies because they don't have a high correlation. And it helped me a lot, especially when I was shorting cyclical companies in the economic downturn. Yeah. But let me tell you, man, it's hard to find companies to buy in a big downdraft in the market. I ended up buying SAP, Oracle, and Microsoft because I thought they would be down less. And I had to own something, right? So, and those would be the big uglies that I'd short in a ridiculous uptape. Yeah. It's all about beta. All right. Next up is Arun, who's saying, your MBA course I saw in Torrent. Eesh, how do you feel about that? Not good. What Udemy does is they actually take care of that and they get those people to take it down. And I do a cease and desist as well. I have my lawyers and yeah, not much you can do though. It's really hard. It's kind of like people still go online to 123 Movies or whatever it's called these days and they stream, movies.
And I'm sure Hollywood is going after it, and they have an army of lawyers, but it's just, you can't. If I put my hand in a stream and tried to stop every single minnow, I just can't. I can't, Yeah. Next up is, it's so funny being on the other end of that too, because I remember when Napster came out, back in the late 90s, Sean Parker's company, we all downloaded tons of music. And in hindsight, that was theft. But I didn't really think of it that way. I remember downloading every single Rolling Stones song ever. But it's theft. Yeah, it's interesting being on the other end of that now. But yeah. All right. Next up is, have you ever studied in foreign countries? I have. I went on exchange in Cuba in the 1990s, 1995, the summer, at 94 the summer, at the University of Cuba Faculty of Economics. And that was fun, man. I learned a ton. And it's amazing how, and all the students that were in my class with me, they're all very political, and they didn't really open up about how awful things were in Cuba until we got really, really hammered towards the end of my stay there. Cuba Libre, that's what we drank. And what happened was we went over to, I was telling some of my colleagues about what was happening in America with the Rodney King incident, which is awful. And they said, we know about that as well. And I was like, dude, how do you know about that? And they said, well, and then I remember we walked into this tiny little apartment, and there's a ton of people living there, this big family. And he turned the TV on, my buddy, and CNN was on TV. And I'm like, dude, how does Castro let you have CNN? And he said, well, come on up to the roof, I'll show you. And we went up to the roof, and he pointed at a big building in Havana, big white building. And I said, yeah, I know that's the International Hotel. Why are you pointing at it? He said, what's on the roof? And I said, well, it's a big satellite dish. And then he pointed at his roof and the roofs all around him. And what the Cubans had done, what he had done, is they had created out of pots and pans these little satellite dishes that pointed at the International Hotel satellite dish. And that's how they all got CNN into their houses. And that's how they all found out about it. It's kind of interesting, eh? It was neat. It's pretty cool. But I loved it. I had a lot of fun there. Yeah. But the whole economy was crumbling, and it was. What I remember, there was a lot of beautiful old American cars there, because in 1960, when Castro basically cut off ties and Kennedy cut off ties to Cuba, to the U.S., there were a ton of U.S. cars there, and they kept it like a snapshot in 1960, the economy in place. And the cars are kept in great condition. And then there was a bunch of crappy old Ladas as well, big Russian cars, awful. But I loved it. I had fun. 96% literacy rate, yeah. And Cohibas are amazing. Like, I don't smoke, but dude, the Cohiba cigars, like, get them right off the field, are so good. Monte Cristo as well. Yeah, not Dominican ones, the Cuban ones, yeah. Next question is, do you have any advice for students who want to go to foreign countries to study, such as science and engineering? Yeah, I would say that it can only help you become more worldly, and it can only help you when you interview to work at companies, or when you submit your application to graduate schools if you want to go, because it makes you look different, makes you interesting, and you can tell stories like I just did. I don't know if that's a good thing. Yeah. All right. And Rohit is saying, do you know Joe Rogan? Actually, I don't know him personally, but the reason I have this microphone is because Wrigley, who works with me, he's my COO, he said you should get a microphone like Joe Rogan. And then Matt, who's my chief creative officer, my CCO, he got one for us here. So, yeah. But until then, I kept telling them I want to get that microphone that Seth Rogen uses. I don't know him, though. And then you wrote here about Joe Rogan. He interviewed Elon Musk once. And Elon, yeah, it's interesting about Elon Musk. I know that people become very successful and they think they can do anything they want to. But they can get themselves into trouble that way. And the SEC actually went after Elon Musk recently for kind of, he's so confident, rightly so. He's done great things. But he said off the cuff one day that, or maybe he tweeted, I'm just going to buy my company outright, do an MBO, managed buyout, or a leveraged buyout. And the SEC kind of got upset with that. So you got to kind of, doesn't matter how much money you have, you got to be careful what you say. Yeah. But no. Elon Musk is he's an inspiration. All right. Question here is, what are you doing in Germany? I'm here at a Udemy conference. So Udemy every year has something called Udemy Live. You can go to udemylive.com to learn more about it. It's just a conference. And so it's in Berlin this year. Yeah. Junior or mid, but some are pro also do this. I decided not to release the money until they finish the job, but still I have to start over and train new ones. What advice do you have for me to keep them inside? It's hard, man. It's hard. Especially in a highly sought after field like programming. It's tough. I've dealt with that a lot too. And usually I would pay in increments. You get part of it here, part of it this milestone, and then a big part at the end as well. That's what I would say, just to keep them motivated. Yeah. All right. And guys, how's the feed? Is it okay?
Yeah,
still live works? Okay, good.
Yeah, it's still coming a bit late.
It's buffering a bit? Okay, damn. All right. Sorry for everyone on the webcast. Apparently it's a little bit choppy now. All right, next up is Maz is saying, I completed your 40 tips online course. I love it. Thank you. I've been to Berlin to a safari. I love that car and the story behind it. Trabi Safari, do you guys know about that?
Yeah.
What is that?
So these small cars from East Europe.
Small cars from East Europe.
Yeah, they used to be manufactured with paper.
Oh,
Yes, it was
in the 60s.
It was in the
I went to the
DDR.
museum, Checkpoint Charlie. When I was in the museum, I saw those little cars.
Yeah,
Because they used to sneak people out to sneak it out past. Yeah.
No, that were the only cars available in East Germany.
Wow,
Yes,
the only
the
cars
only-
in East
the only
Germany.
car, and people needed to wait for 10 or 15 years before
Get
they...
it.
You had to
get
wait
it.
10 years to get that
so
car
they
in
said,
East
"We want to
in East
buy a
Germany.
car," and 10 years later... they-
Wow,
So when children were born,
Yeah.
parents said like...
that's
bought a
crazy.
car, so when they were 18, they would have...
Wow,
a car.
dude, I went to the Checkpoint Charlie museum yesterday, and they showed how tons of people from during the Berlin airlift or when the wall was up, I should say, how they escaped. They had cars and they showed where they snuck in the compartments. Yeah. They had speakers that children would hide in. It was crazy. Yeah. We're so blessed. We live in freedom, man. Craziness. Nuts. All right. Solly is saying, I'm thinking about finishing my work and quitting my job probably next month to work on my project. Although I need the money, but doing both makes me really tired. Any help for me? What will happen when a startup? I don't know what to say, man, Solly. I don't know what to say. We all need we all need stability. I don't know what to tell you. Maybe provide me a little bit more color on that, because I don't want to irresponsibly give you an opinion if I don't have all the details. Yeah, I'm sorry you're going through that. All right. And Rohit is saying, what? And you wrote here a couple more follow-ups, Solly, like how do you develop a vision? And you have a couple smaller questions about your company. I recommend taking my complete business plan course, because I go through the entire life cycle of a company, every aspect, qualitative and quantitative aspect of a company, to help you crystallize your thought process. You can document the vision for your company and where you want to take it longer term. Yeah. Okay, and Rohit is saying, what preparation should I do to get an entry-level management consulting job? I know it's difficult, but the way to ace the interviews, ace the case is what they used to say, ace the case interview, is to make sure that you understand how to use a number of different frameworks. And in the entire MBA in one course, I teach you a bunch of different frameworks like SWOT analysis, product lifecycle, etc. And you can use those frameworks when you're answering case questions. Now, what I recommend also doing is do a search online for vaultreports.com. I think just go to vaultreports.com. And what you can do there is you can buy books from them, which are sample case studies. And I would get a buddy of yours that also wants to work in consulting and, do case studies and interview each other. based on the cases you see in those reports you can buy from vaultreports.com. That will help you a lot. And you can also buy books there from Vault Reports on management consultancy, which will help you understand what that job entails in terms of the day of the life of a management consultant, and also how to get that job, how to prepare for the interviews. The interviews are tough. And I interviewed with Boston Consulting Group years ago, and man, those are brutally tough interviews to go through. And also take my complete job course, because that will help you with the interviews as well. Yeah. All right. Asamina is asking, I was passionate about traveling, so I became a flight attendant, but it looks like this life is not for me. So I turned back and looked what I love the most. So I started building my own video game. Cool. And it's going very well. I finished the first few levels. Any advice? That's awesome. Good for you for following your heart and doing what you love doing. That is awesome. In terms of advice, I don't know what to tell you. You have to tell me a little bit more about the App Store, the iOS Store. Are you going to sell it for PCs? Is it you have to get the SDK for the PS4 or the PS5 for next October? Really cool. Just send me more details if you want during this in this webcast, and I'll provide you my humble thoughts. But good for you for chasing your dreams. Okay, Arun is saying, what if your passion is to do sports and you're in your 30s with a master's degree in sciences, engineering, and doctors, like many Indians? Is there a way to transition into a different field? Yeah, just by networking. You got to provide a little bit more color what you mean by sport, though. Is it mean, do you want to get into sports management? Do you want to get into private wealth management, managing money for high net worth athletes, etc.? All this stuff is doable with aggressive networking. Just provide me a little bit more color, Arun, please, and I'll provide my humble thoughts. Thanks. Hey guys, is it okay? Is the call? How's the yeah?
It's working.
Is it?
Yes. But
Okay. Oh, good. Oh, Wrigley.
Sometimes it has some lag.
Oh, it does. Okay, because Wrigley says he's in San Francisco now. He says it's fine. Okay. All right. Cool.
Also, there was a bit more down. Someone writing some bandwidth problems.
Okay. It's okay. Okay.
It's okay.
All right, guys. All right, I'm so sorry if it's been late night show with Chris Haroun with the studio audience. Thank you. This is great. This is the best studio audience I've ever had. It's the first of many. Yeah. No, it's been fun. All right. Rohit is saying, I did not catch the full name of the studio audience. Can you please repeat it, sir? Okay. Do you guys want to give your full names?
Yes.
Okay, sure.
No problem.
Okay. Full names. First and last.
Robin Fabianek.
Robin Fabianek.
Fabianek.
Fabianek. Okay.
Vital Sengyumba.
Vital Sengyum.
Sengyumba.
Sengyumba?
Yeah.
Okay. Cool. Thank you. Thank you both for joining us. Appreciate it. There you go.
Yes. Thank you.
All right, great. JR in the house. Jacob, how are you, bud? Jacob saying, hi, Chris. Was Christine supportive, my wife, when you changed careers? Or did it take some convincing? Was it challenging with kids, taking a risk, et cetera? Yeah. No, she was always very supportive. Yeah. I remember when I worked at Goldman and I wanted to go to hedge fund, at one point she was like, you sure you want to do this? Do you remember how hard you worked to get into Goldman? And I said, I'm just not happy. I just got to do it. And she's always been very supportive and known that I've worked my ass off at whatever I do. And yeah, it's risky though. I've started companies when the kids were babies, or when Christine was pregnant even. Life goes on. You can't wait until the perfect time to start a company. You can't, and you got to stop and smell the roses along the way. I've enjoyed every second of being a parent and being married, while starting many companies and having successes and failures too. Life goes on. The trick is when you get home, you got to condition yourself so that when you touch the doorknob, the second you touch that doorknob, you forget about work and you leave it outside. You never bring it home. And I'm guilty of that. I remember when Matthew, my middle child, when he was like 3 or 4, I come home from work and it was a little bit stressful at that time. And he said, Daddy, did you have a good day at work or a bad day? And if I said good day, he'd say, yay. He'd light up like Tweety Bird. Can we play baseball in the backyard? And if he asked, how was your day at work? And I said, oh, it was only okay. He'd go, and walk away. And it's just not fair. It's not fair to the kids that, but there will never be a perfect time. Just do it now if you can. Yeah. All right. And Arun is saying, Andrew Dupree. Oh, you guys are talking to each other. Okay, cool. Whenever you guys talk to each other, I'll let you talk to each other that way. I don't read those things. Okay, but I encourage it. Yeah. And Julie is saying, on YouTube, there's a vlog where you're saying something about if a person is going to do a lot of YouTubing, then they should register a company. What do you mean by registering? Oh, okay. Oh, yeah. Oh, you asked this as well on YouTube. Yeah, sorry for not answering. So if you're starting to generate revenue for any business, you're starting to make money, you got to register that company because people will come after you once you start doing exceptionally well. It always happens, right? It is what it is. And so once you start generating a meaningful amount of revenue, make sure you talk to a lawyer. I'm not a lawyer. And you register your company as an LLC or whatever legal structure your lawyer advises, so that God forbid, if somebody comes after you for whatever reason, and when you are successful, and you will be successful, people will come after you for whatever reason. People have come after me. I fought them. There's somebody that came after me for something which was ridiculous. And they said, well, we'll accept an out-of-court settlement. And I was like, no, man, I'm going all in. Let's go all in through a big lawsuit. This will be great. Let's do it. And eventually they backed away. Right? But it was just the principle for me. I didn't want to. But anyway, people come after you. And they come after me. It just happens. It is what it is. Unjustified criticism is a disguised compliment. Yeah. But you want to protect yourself and your family. Once you start generating meaningful revenue from your business, if you don't protect yourself by registering your company, you're doing yourself and your children and your family a disservice. Because, if something happens, somebody can sue you and take everything. Yeah. All right. Then Julie wrote, on one of your webcasts, you talk about the series exams. Oh, I remember this one now. Okay, yeah. And being sponsored. I was wondering if you knew that the exam structure has been changed by FINRA. Now there is an SIE exam and the Series 7 top-off. Yeah. So I didn't know it changed. So FINRA is financial. It's a government institute. And I had to write the 3, the 63, and the Series 7. Series 7 is a big exam you write when you work on Wall Street. And when I worked at Goldman, they told our start class, you have 2 days to study for this Series 7 exam. Go. It was a lot of work. Yeah. All right. Rohit is saying, how is teaching like being a bond trader in the 90s? I heard it in your TEDx talk. Can you elaborate on that in detail? Yeah, absolutely. So back in the 1990s, the largest wage earners included people that were bond traders. They made a fortune, especially in the early 90s, right before the Latin American debt crisis. And so if you're a teacher in the future, and this was the crux of my TEDx talk, I think you can make more money than bond traders can. And I was kind of comparing and contrasting different decades when I was talking about that in my TEDx talk. So in the 90s, bond traders made a lot. I think in the future, teachers are going to make a lot more than bond traders because you can teach online in every country at the same time. And unlike doctors or lawyers, you don't have to only treat one patient or have one customer at a time. You can have millions or billions. All right. And then Gregory is saying, hey, Chris, how are you? Great to hear from you. What did you achieve from your to-do list? I'll tell you what I didn't achieve. I've achieved basically everything I've wanted. I've been very blessed and worked hard, whatever. But I wanted to have a black belt in karate. I got into a car accident. Back in 2008, so I can't do that anymore. Yeah. So but I went back. I tried. My back is that's why I'm always careful. But and it was the car accident was just this dude, some delivery truck cut me off, and I could have pressed charges, whatever. Or I'm not. They had no money. It wasn't cool. It was an accident. Whatever happens. But that's why I use products like this for my back, right? My back is fine. It's not the end of the world, right? But that's why I always talk about products like this, and I always look at my posture, and yeah, it's fine. I have to travel with a special pillow and everything, and anyway, long story, yeah. So I did not get my black belt, yeah. But I'm a mean yellow belt, right? I think I got to orange belt, and that was it, yeah. I'll get it eventually one day. I don't give up. All right, and Gregory's saying, I did a presentation on Tuesday, and because I did follow your advice from your course about presentations, I did great. I put some passion into it. I put some personal examples. Awesome. Good for you. Good for you. And I'm so inspired here walking through the streets of Berlin. And for those of you that watched the opening part of today's webcast, I did a speech right by Checkpoint Charlie. And I talked about the late, great President Reagan giving his empowering speech in 1987 in front of the, what's that place called again? What's the gate called? Brandenburg? Brandenburg Gate, yeah. Where he went off script and he said, "Mr. Gorbachev, tear down this wall." I think his voice went like that too. He went off script, and Colin Powell, who was his national security advisor at the time, just an advisor, was mad with him. And so was the whole White House. They were upset with Reagan for doing that. Yeah, everybody was pissed at them because they said, "Oh my God, why would you single out Gorbachev like that? You know, you worked so hard in diplomacy with him for a couple of years now." And Reagan just he didn't care. You know, he just spoke from the heart, which is that's how you give a great speech. You don't read a script, you go from the heart. So, yeah, good for you, Gregory. Congrats on giving a great speech. And Nico, hey Nico. Nico's saying, "I'm trying to study digital marketing, but it seems I'm not progressing fast. I once bought some clothes and could not sell a single piece of them, neither online or in person." Yeah. Let me know give me a little bit more color. I'd love to be able to help you with your question, Nico. And let me know exactly what you meant by digital marketing. Marketing is tough, man. It's hard. You got to be very long-term focused. Very, very long-term focused. And if you're trying to sell something, you can't sell a $10 course online by buying Google ads. It doesn't make sense, right? It's a complex process. Yeah. And Robin knows that too. Robin, you use a lot of Shopify and the other.
First he needs a target audience.
Yeah.
Right?
You need a target audience first. Yeah.
Not just shirts for anyone, but then the shirts maybe has a special feature for this target audience. When you're a skater or someone, it protects you as well when you fall. I don't know.
You know what we'll do, actually, thank you for that. That's a great color. If you want, Nico, and Robin, sorry to put you on the spot, but Nico, if you have a more specific question, Robin here is a digital marketing expert. You can hit him up on LinkedIn if you want, he said. Yeah, or I was going to say ask on the call, but I don't put you on the spot. Yeah. He's open to that too if you want to ask on the call. Yeah, thanks. All right, Julie is saying, "What advice would you give a company founder who is great at sales, makes all sales and is passionate about sales, but feels burdened with all other aspects and the tedium of running the company?" I know exactly what you mean. I would try to outsource everything you possibly can except for sales. Sales is the lifeline of a company, every company, right? So try to outsource. And it's so hard to get people to work with you that can do your job, right? Can help you out. And a lot of times, and I'm very fortunate that I have an amazing group of guys I work with. But in previous companies I've started, I've always felt not confident to the extent that when I leave on vacation or whatever it is, something's going to go wrong. And I used to feel that if I didn't do it myself, it would never get done right. But you got to search for the right people and outsource everything to them so that all you focus on is sales. Everything else you do might be a detriment to your business otherwise. Yeah. And you got to rely on other people too. Otherwise, you'll never be able to scale the business. But it's tough finding people. And maybe you're not incentivizing them enough. I don't know. If you want, you can provide me with more color though, and I'll do my best to drill down and offer you just my humble thoughts there. Yeah. All right. Next up is Rohit is saying Miles Teller. Okay, that's the name of the actor from Whiplash. Thank you for that. Forgot about that. Thank you. All right, Raymond Manning. Hey, Raymond. Raymond is saying regarding your comments about Amazon, their AWS platform business, cloud computing. Amazon won the largest U.S. government contract. Oracle sued with the claim was influenced by AWS capabilities. Yeah, I know that contract cold. Yeah. So IBM was actually sued more so than Oracle did. And it was the biggest DOD, or the biggest, I think it was Gus Hunt, who's he's on my board. He's CTO of the CIA, who helped that contract when he was at the CIA with Amazon. It's $500 million contract. I think it was back in 2012, and they first started talking about it back then. Yeah. But I do remember, especially IBM contesting that. Yeah. All right. And then Gregory is saying, welcome to Europe. Thank you. Good to be here. And then Raymond is saying, the interesting part of it, it's true AWS has capabilities which no other cloud provider currently has, including Microsoft and Google. And then that's right. Microsoft's got Azure, and Google has the Google Compute Engine, GCE. It's interesting, though, because in Europe and other parts of the world, a lot of other governments won't use AWS because it's American software, nor should they, right? And so I think it's the cloud service providers that will do well in Europe. It could be like Deutsche Telekom, all the telco companies, I think will be cloud powerhouses. Yeah. And Raymond is saying, another interesting fact is Oracle is now partnering with Microsoft to offer both of their offerings together. So past competitors partner in cooperation to compete with a common competitor. Yeah, and Oracle doesn't really... I mean, the crux of their cloud computing software is just acquired. Yeah, everything, since Ray Lane left, every cloud offering they have that's successful has been acquired. Yeah. And then Kurt, hey Kurt, how are you, bud? Kurt is saying attending from Hawaii. You're in Kauai, cool. Hanging 10, you're saying here at Hanley Bay, 6 a.m. Brah, awesome. Great to have you, dude. Thank you. I love Hawaii. And Solly's saying, I bought $100 of Google. I would like to invest this amount every month and increase my knowledge about investment. Cool. And what do you think about Retire and Inspire by Chris Hogan and Dave Ramsey? It's about investing. I don't know. I know who Dave Ramsey is. I don't know who that is, or what the book is, though. Sorry, but my entire thought process on personal investing is outlined in my course called the Complete Personal Finance course. All right. Hold on a second. I just skipped a bunch here. Give me 1 second, guys. Aquahood. Okay, thank you. Okay. All right, hold on a second. Give me almost there. Aquahood. Okay, there we go. Aquahood. And Aquahood is Michael from England, right? Yeah. So he's saying hi, all. How are you? And then here a question is, I'm a fresh graduate, but passionate job needs work experience. What do you suggest? I mean, you got to provide me a little bit more color on that one. Maybe it's just late here in Germany. I can't think correctly, but let me. What are you passionate about? Like, give me 3 things you're passionate about, and I'll do my best to humbly help you. Try to figure out what career path makes most sense to you. And what I recommend doing is go to my website, harounventures.com, and download my book on networking. And what you can do is that book will teach you how to network to get anything you want in business, how to get a job, etc. Yeah, it's a free download. All right. And then Ariana is saying, hello, Chris. I hope you're having a great week and enjoying visiting Berlin. Thank you for your email reply. You're welcome. And I think you're from Sao Paulo. I looked you up on LinkedIn, and so is Wrigley, who's my COO. It's pretty cool. And I gave a speech actually in Sao Paulo a year ago. You can go to my LinkedIn profile and check it out. It was for a big venture capital group down there called Startse. Yeah, I loved it down there. Great mortadella sandwiches. I remember that. Yeah. Okay, and your question is, what do you think about Berlin's startup ecosystem? Do you see any disruptive ideas or approaches made by European startups that do not yet exist in Silicon Valley? I don't know much about that. I'm sorry. I don't know much about that. Yeah, and I don't really think like Silicon Valley has much of an edge or will have much of an edge in the future. The cost of computing is basically nothing. Anybody with a laptop and heart and access to AWS or any online cloud service platform. All right. Julia is saying, I'm intrigued with your commitment to scheduling. I've tried, but I struggle to adhere to scheduling because I need to see daily schedule in the top right-hand corner. I have the day number, and I try to see how many days I can do it in a row. So when I first start doing it, it's day 1. If I do the next day, it's day 2. If I do the next day, it's day 3. If I skip a day, I have to start all over at day 1. It's hard. My record's like 30 or 40 days in a row. It's tough. It's tough, but it's a little bit painful sometimes. Doing that right before you go to bed. Sometimes I'm tired. I don't want to do it, but I know that this much pain in doing it will bring me this much pleasure in the long run if I schedule it properly. Yeah. You know what I mean?
Yes. Always do it in the evening.
Yes. Always. Yeah. All right. And maybe make it fun for yourself too, Julie. Maybe have a cup of tea or something, or a snack, and maybe listen to classical music in the background, and I don't know, just make it kind of a fun environment for you to do so. Yeah, the way I do it is I have this plastic thing that holds my clipboard right by my sink. So when I go to wash my face before I go to bed, I'm like, oh gosh, there it is. I have to fill it out. Yeah, I never forget. Yeah. All right, and here's Wrigley saying, speaking of Mark Benioff, he donates a lot, but also got many of his peers to pledge to donate using his 111 model. That's awesome. He's a rock. He's awesome. And Michael, the Aquahood, is saying, I want one of those keyboards. Ideal laptops tool. I'm going to get one. Yeah, dude, this thing is awesome. It certainly makes working a lot more fun. So it's by a company called Boyota. I don't know if you can see that written there. Probably can't with the glare. But this thing is great. And it's really, really durable, too. And it folds up like this. You put it in your case. And I flipped in a book on Berlin in the middle here, my bag. It fit in nicely. Yeah. And it goes along great with my Jelbos here, too. Dude, I don't look silly, but these things are awesome whenever you're working on a crappy table or at a Starbucks or something. Yeah. Makes it more fun. Yeah. Jelbos. All right, let's see here. Arun is saying, how do you feel about the claim that I've worked with difficult people in my life, but psychopath, I don't know. I've never experienced that. Yeah. I'm sure they exist, but I haven't seen that yet. All right. But dude, to make CEO in a big company, like it's so hard. Like it's got it's like politics. It is so hard to get to the top of a big company. You got to have the right mentors along the way. You can't upset anybody. Of course, you have to perform as well, but you got to do a lot of gripping and grinning, and it can be maddening. It really can. Trying to play that rat race. It's political. So yeah, but they're great salespeople. That's what they are. That's how they made CEO. All right, Rohit is saying, how do you find time in your busy schedule to watch TV shows and movies? What is the secret? Yeah. I don't know. Like when I go to bed, what I do is, so I hurt my back, as I told you all years ago, whatever, in a car accident. I have this special iPad holder that clamps, and I've got it right here. You guys can't see it, but my studio audience can right here. See here? It's holding up this camera. Yeah. But I clamp it, and then what I do is I kind of, and I work from bed a lot too, lying down. It's just cozy. It's comfy. But what I do is at night before I go to bed, I watch I'll watch some Netflix, whatever, or HBO. My favorite show right now is on HBO. It's called Succession. It's a masterpiece. It is so well done. It's fun too. So I don't know. I kind of decompress that way for half an hour before I go to bed. Yeah. And also sometimes on the elliptical trainer when I'm not working at the gym, I'll watch shows that way too. In the place where I go to exercise called 24 Hour Fitness, and there's a sushi restaurant I eat at sometimes downstairs, and they gave me the Wi-Fi address. And when I'm on the elliptical trainer at the gym, sometimes I'll use their Wi-Fi and watch Netflix. Yeah. Is that legal? That's fine, whatever. I'm sure they don't care. Yeah. All right, and Nick is asking, how's your trip? And Nick's from the country of Georgia. It's great. So German and English are Anglo-Saxon languages, same roots. I didn't know that. Interesting. I guess that's why some of the words sound similar to me. Yeah. It's a derivative. English is a derivative of German. Oh wow. Oh, you're guessing. Okay, yeah. It's cool. Yeah. And then Geronimo's saying, good afternoon from Brazil, Chris. Hey, dude, this is such a... Geronimo, how are you, bud? It's been a couple months, man. I haven't seen you in a while, buddy. And you wrote here, just started your YouTube course. I think it's your best one ever. Thanks. I appreciate that. And I learned a lot from working with Sasha. I've never met Sasha. I met her on week number 10, our webcast, just virtually. And I know it's been a great partnership. She's in Indonesia. Yeah. I can't believe how international this call is. It just blows me away. We have so many countries represented here. Incredible. Okay. Thanks, Gregory. Yeah, and Andrew is saying a slight bandwidth issue occurring. I know. Sucks. Sorry about that. Next up is, hi, Chris. Hope you're doing well. I've started in a new department, and I'm hoping to impress to get a permanent position. I feel completely out of my depth. How can I make myself noticed? Yeah. So when you're the new kid in town, for the first couple of weeks, I recommend setting up a lot of coffee meetings with people. And you can do that because you're new, right? It's kind of accepted. And those relationships you develop in the first couple of weeks will be with you forever. It's kind of like when you're in high school or the first year of university. In the first 2 weeks in university, you know the people that you met when you're out partying the first 2 weeks, they're still your friends now. Right? So everyone's guard is down. You can do that. And I'd also recommend seeking out people that you could see as mentors to you. And find people with something in common with you and just schedule coffee meetings with them. And seek their advice too. Ask them how you can progress in your department. And make sure that you also network with the assistants. They're really, really important because they've been there, a lot of them, longer than many other people. And they work with a lot of senior people, and they know how stuff gets done. And they'll be flattered if you ask them their opinion as well. All right. But it's tough, though. It's tough because every company has a different culture, too. So I recommend aligning yourself with people that have been there for a while that know how stuff gets done. Yeah, and just seek their advice as well. Yeah. All right. Kurt is saying, hi, Chris. What's your favorite place to vacation? Do you like activity-based vacations or just laying on the beach and relaxing? I teach my son to surf. Oh, that's awesome. That's cool. And you wrote here you're in Kauai now. It's cool. So I love vacations where I can learn. And probably one of my favorite vacations was I went to Israel a couple summers ago with Christine and the kids. And I learned a ton. And Christine's family grew up in northern Israel, in Haifa. And for those of you, I don't know if I have anybody from Israel in the call today, but there's a very famous Greek restaurant called Abu Christo. And that's where Christine's family is from. They're Greek living in the north of Israel there. But I learned a lot about history as well. And I loved it. Absolutely loved it. Yeah, this is amazing. And the food in Israel is amazing too. It's incredible. And we got to go to Bethlehem as well. And for me, I'm a very, very devout Catholic, and it was just an amazing trip. I loved it. It's amazing. I love learning about history. Love it. All right. And the kids were cool with it too. And I thought the way to get the kids really into it, because we were going to go visit some old castle-like structures, was I said, hey, let's play this Clash of Clans game. And dude, I'm still hooked on it now. Like my kids, like they moved on to Clash Royale. You know that game, Clash Royale? Yeah. I still play Clash of Clans. It's a great game. Yeah. But I like to kick back as well. We went to Barcelona. That's where I recorded the YouTube course, a lot of it there as well. So I like to mix work with family as well. I just love what I do. It's just fun. Yeah. All right, Dat Tran. Hey, Dat Tran, how are you? It's been a while. And Dat Tran, I think you mentioned you're Vietnamese on exchange in Vancouver. I don't know if you're still in Vancouver. And I remember looking at your LinkedIn profile a while ago. You're also a big follower of Dale Carnegie. Yeah. And for those of you who haven't read that book, How to Win Friends and Influence People by Dale Carnegie, please do so. Please do so. It's an awesome book. It was written in the 30s, a little bit old school, but without Dale Carnegie, there would be no likes of Tony Robbins, etc. out there. Yeah. All right. And Arun is saying, Andrew Dupree. Oh, okay. When you guys talk to each other, I don't read that, but I love when you guys do that. Okay. Yeah, Andrew, I remember you wrote the peppermint thing last week as well. Thank you for that. All right. Rohit is saying, as a as a pit bull and a pork chop, I just want to humbly remind you about the Jordan Peterson guest lecture. Thank you. I promise you I will. I promise you I will. And God bless you, Rohit, for reminding me and for using my saying as well. Actually, I got that from one of the analysts that worked for me in my company, Jason, years ago. He wanted me to buy a stock, and then I wanted him to sell it, and he was right. I was wrong. And he said, Chris, I'm a pit bull and a pork chop. I'm not selling that. So he was right. Yeah. Awesome. All right. And then you wrote here, I'm excited about the MBA program. It's going to be life-changing. Awesome. Awesome. Excellent. And my two colleagues here are also joining us in the MBA degree program, which is very cool. It's going to be good. It's going to be fun. It's going to be fun. Yeah, yeah. All right. And then... All right. Hold on a second, guys. All right. And Kurt is saying, Chris, try 8 Steps to a Pain-Free Back by Gokal. I gave this to many friends, and they say it's amazing. I use the techniques to improve my back problem. It's cheap and not invasive. Worth a try. Thank you. I will try that out. I'm going to take a little screen print there. Thank you. All right. Great. And then Gregory's saying, hi, everyone. Thank you for your email message. My pleasure. And then your question is, what's your take on foreign language education startups that focus on other languages than English? Is there a new innovation or approach that you've seen that helps to learn languages? I don't know right now, but Sasha Stevenson reached out to me the other day and said, do you want to do a course together on teaching English as a second language? And she does a lot of that as well. She teaches English to Indonesians. And so I thought about it, but it would have to be something business English related. I'm not sure. We're still talking about it. Yeah. All right. Next up is, in regard to global trend of protectionism and economic restriction, do you think that there will be a shift in the foreign language that people will learn in the future? I don't know. Like I hate to be too biased towards English, but I still think that English is an important language to learn for business. But if I had to guess, I'd say Mandarin as well. You know, Mandarin's important. Yeah. Yeah. And I tried to learn Mandarin when I lived in Ottawa in my 20s. Dude, it's tough, man. It's so hard. It's almost like if you want your kids to learn, you got to teach them real young. Yeah. Yeah. It is so hard. Yeah. Yeah. All right. Next up is Deaf Guy 319. It's been a couple months, man. How are you? Do you know when it's time to hire your first employee and how much to pay them? Yeah, it's always hard. You got to maintain a good social life as well. When you're a startup of one, if you're not balanced enough, you're not going to be happy and you're going to burn out. So once you start getting that feeling of burning out in your family or friends, start pestering to go out a lot and you keep saying I have to work too much, whatever, that's when I would think about bringing somebody on board. You have to hire them full time. You can just outsource as well if you want, right? Just focus on skill X, which is the lifeline of your company, whatever that skill is, and try to outsource everything else if you can. You can do it. You can outsource almost everything now, even your CFO. Yeah. But I would start people initially just through contract work and then give them more hours, once they prove themselves. Yeah. Yeah. And I believe in hiring very slowly and firing quickly. It is tough for me to ever fire anyone. I rarely do it, but I have. But hire very slowly and fire quickly. Yeah. And if you want to let somebody go and they've got an awful attitude and just they're destroying the corporate culture, just don't wait anymore. Just pull the Band-Aid off and get it done. I know it's a harsh thing to say, but your company will be much better off because of it. Yeah, these are tough decisions to make, though. Yeah, and the hardest is when you let the first person go. It's really, really tough. And I remember when I did it years ago. I called my buddy Mike Ball, His dad at the time was the head of HR at NCR, which I think was an AT&T subsidiary. I got a lot of great advice from him and a lot of other people. And basically what they said was this: when you let somebody go, never do it on a Friday. Do it on a Monday. You don't want to ruin their weekend. And they usually know it's coming. And a lot of times you're helping them anyway, right? To move on, to do something they're more passionate about. And what you do is you sit down with them and you start by saying something nice, but really nice. Like don't be phony. Like for example, Steve, you've done a great job, and everybody appreciates the fact that you were able to turn around this division here. I'm making this up. However, for the following 3 reasons, we have to let you go. And then you pause and you don't say anything. And it can feel like hours. It's not. It's just a couple of seconds, whatever. And you give them the opportunity to talk. And usually they'll ask about, how to take care of their family and benefits and stuff. And you give them the package. And usually it works out okay. Because they're smart enough to know that you might be a reference in the future and whatever. The writing was on the wall. They probably got warned a bunch of times. And if you're worried about, it almost never happens, but it does sometimes, about somebody being physical, you can get a security guard to be around the other office, whatever it is, right? And in big companies, they have security around usually when somebody's let go. But it's tough. It's a tough thing to do. And always talk to HR if you work at a big company, or if you don't, you can talk to an HR lawyer. You can always go to LegalZoom.com and speak to somebody that's an HR lawyer as well, just to get some counseling on that. Yeah. All right. And then your question here is, how much should you pay them? I mean, I pay my employees a lot, like way more than my competing firms do. But I believe in having employees that can take on the work of 10 people each that are incredibly productive. I hire great people and I take care of them. It's a tough question for me to answer there. Yeah. All right. Next up is Rohit. Have you watched the movie American Psycho? I heard it's a cult classic, popular movie on Wall Street. Yeah, I have not, but Christian Bale's in, I think, right? Yeah, I've not watched it. Yeah, Christian Bale in that American Psycho? I don't know. Okay, yeah. All right, and then Michael, who's the Aqua Hood, is saying, "Oh damn it, I lost my spot again." Oh yeah, he's saying the elbow pad. Like if something this small and inconsequential can make working more fun for you, like getting a cup of coffee, you know what I mean? Or listening to music in the background. You got to do it. They're called gelbos. Anyway. Yeah. That along with this thing is key, man. I love this. Yeah. All right. Yeah. Wrigley wrote, my elbows would hurt too until I got a fancy desk. It's so actually Wrigley, you know what, dude? So Wrigley works with me. He sent me, I bought him a something like this, and because he said his back was hurting, and then he sent me a picture of his living room, of that stand on his desk, and his desk was it looked kind of small, and also it looked like this, and I was thinking, oh my god, it must hurt his elbows, and so I was gonna buy Wrigley. I don't know if you're watching right now, you probably are. I was gonna buy you gelbos, and I said, fuck it. And I went to, Wrigley. I went to fully.com and I got him the best desk because, dude, you're worth $1 billion more than that. So thank you, Rick. Appreciate it. All right. And that group does not meet your expectations. What is the best way to get business referrals? Yeah, I've never relied on any sort of referral groups like that before. I always, it's kind of like relying on, I don't know, somebody to raise money for you. It's just impossible to do unless you do it yourself. And so for me, I tend to grip and grin and just grit it up and whatever, just network like crazy, which is the crux of my networking book, which you can download for free from my website. Yeah, so I don't use referral groups. I get all my leads myself. It's like a hunter-gatherer. So I'm pretty proactive and aggressive with that, yeah. I'm tired. Okay. All right, next up. Yeah, you're right. We got to drink some water here. Yeah. All right. Next one is here. Chris, I'm looking to start a business in Africa. Have you got any advice on how to research? As you know, information is not free flowing. Yeah, it's tough. I've gotten questions like that before, actually. I think that the first thing you got to do is you got to look at the size of the total addressable market. Never start a company in a small market, ever, ever, ever. Like, look to enter a large market. And if you can find publicly traded companies in Africa, which might be tough, I don't know where you are exactly, but if you can find publicly traded companies that disclose their financials, you can figure out how much revenue they make each year and get every company in that sector and add up the revenue for all those companies. That's the size of the market. Make sure it's a big market, right? If you search for consultant-based studies that will come up with a total addressable market size. That's what I would say. But what I would also do is, if you want, you can take my my complete business plan course, because in that course I go through all qualitative and quantitative frameworks that you should use to analyze your startup. So check it out. It's called the Complete Business Plan course. Yeah. All right. Arun is saying, have you seen Grant Cardone versus Jordan Belfort? I haven't. I don't know who Grant Cardone is, but I know Jordan Belfort's that dude in that Leonardo DiCaprio movie, right? What was that movie? Wolf of Wall Street. Yeah, Wolf of Wall Street. Yeah. He did a great job in the movie. And he doesn't have an agent. He chooses all his own movies, too. It's amazing. Yeah. But I will take a look. All right. My idea is to create a business processing management, such as Tallyfee, that will integrate outsourcing products and services for businesses and residents. What are logistics and legal challenges? I'm so sorry. I don't know what Tallyfee. Do you guys know what that is? Tallyfee? No, I don't know what that is. Sorry. If you want, you can give me more color, and I'll try to answer the question. Thanks. Deaf Guy is saying, hey, Chris, hope everything's going well for you as always. Thanks, dude. Appreciate it. All right. Rohit is saying, A-Rod, A-Fraud, play for the Yankees. He now has a $400 million investment fund. Wow. He has invested in esports, real estate, startups, steroid companies. Just kidding. I added that last part. Really smart investor who plays dumb in the limelight. Interesting. He and Gary V did a podcast once. Really, really insightful. Yeah, A-Rod, for those who aren't familiar with, he has the third most home runs in history after Barry Bonds and Babe Ruth. He played baseball. He was amazing until everybody found out that he was doing steroids or some performance enhancing thing, and then he ended his career abruptly. He's now dating Jennifer Lopez. Yeah, but I didn't know he had a good business mind. That's interesting. Yeah. Interesting. Yeah. And Andrew's saying, and I mentioned A-Fraud only because I'm a Toronto Blue Jays, fan, and I'll never forget when A-Rod came to Toronto once, and Andrew Dupree, you might have seen it, who's in Toronto. He came to Toronto once, and he ran behind second base, or the shortstop, actually, when he was running around the field, and the ball was in the air, and my shortstop was about to catch the ball. And right behind the shortstop, he yelled, "I got it!" And then the shortstop let the ball bounce. It was kind of scummy. I don't know. All right. Andrew Dupree is saying, I have a chosen mission from the MBA thesis. Ooh, to score a financial touchdown one day. My pursuit is 1 to 2 years away. How does one retain the relationship while pursuing the MBA, please? Is it appropriate to request a meeting now with not much in hand? Absolutely, man. Absolutely. And I know that, and I won't mention what we talked about when I met with you and your other grand ambition, which I thought was money. But absolutely, I don't see why you can't do this at the same time. And if you want to make that part of your thesis in the MBA degree program, I'm certainly more than happy to humbly help you if I can. Yeah. All right. Yeah, you can definitely do both at the same time. And even with the MBA degree program, dude, you have to do it all in 1 year. It's 1 year minimum. If you want, you can stretch it out into multiple years. And you'll always have access to all the lectures online for free forever. And for the first MBA class, you guys are including this too. You guys get all my courses forever for free, and all the new content I ever create for free. And you don't have to do it right away. Like you can do it over several years if you want to, if you don't have time. this is supposed to be a very flexible degree as well. Yeah.
But you will be teaching live within 1 year or 2 years?
Oh no, within 1 year. Yeah, 1 year. Yeah. But the new stuff I add, you guys can always join after you've graduated. Absolutely. Yeah. It's for the first class. I'm trying to. Yeah. Because you guys are taking a risk on me. You know what I mean? Like I'm developing. You guys don't know what the content is even, right? And it's kind of like there's a lot of traits. Next up is Deaf Guy is saying, following up accounting wise, I want to pay my employees a lot, but I don't know how to tell how much I can afford based on my revenue or projected growth rate. Yeah. You got to forecast everything. So take my complete business plan course, and it'll help you to I'll teach you financials from scratch and how to forecast your financials from scratch multiple years out. And that will help you from a cash flow perspective as well, understand how much you can afford to pay your employees. And if you're not sure, if you're not confident yet, that's cool, on how much you can pay, then there's no shame in just having consultants, or having part-timers or contractors before you bring people on kind of full-time. Yeah. All right. It's not $61 for Jelbos, is it? Dude, I think I got these for like 10 or 15 bucks. I had sent an email highlighting this, got a reply with the link to the next webcast. Oh, okay. Wrigley, can you take care of that, please? So, Tobias, just send an email to admissions@harounventures.com, and Wrigley will help out with that. Wrigley, if you're on the call right now, I think you are. Just please help out with this. Thanks, brother. Appreciate it. All right. And then Aces is saying, is the Series 65 the only license one needs when starting a hedge fund? I don't know. You're going to have to talk to a securities lawyer. So what I did was I hired a securities law firm called the Securities Law Group in San Francisco. And the name of the lawyer that helped me was named Jim Grant. And he connected me with the appropriate people at FINRA at the time. And they had me take, I think it was a 60, I can't remember. It was 60 something. I've taken so many exams I can't remember. Yeah. It was either 63 or 65 I had to write for that. Yeah, I remember. Yeah. And Gotham is saying, hi, hey, bud, how are you? Yeah, Dupree is saying, Dupree is saying, I saw that game with A-Rod. Yeah. And dude, Andrew, I don't know if you remember that, but in the Toronto Star the next day, somebody had taken a picture of A-Rod. I think he was married at the time, out at some establishment on Yonge Street. That's all I'll say. It was in the paper, so it's legit. Yeah. But he's heavily traded in sovereign bonds. If so, what is the best charting technique you found helpful? Wow, I've never day traded a bond in my life. I've traded a lot with equities in particular, but I've never ever traded bonds. But I would assume that the same things apply. If you want, you can actually just go to my vlog and do a search on technical analysis, because I do a 15-minute session in one of my vlogs. I think you'll find really helpful. It's free. But I look at the relative strength index, the RSI. I look at the 50-day moving average, the 200-day moving average. I look at gaps in the charts as well, that sort of thing. So check that out. Yeah, thanks. And I learned a lot of that from Mark Kingdon, who I used to work for in a hedge fund years ago. Great guy, and probably the best tech trader in the world. He's great. Yeah. All right. Next one is Levy saying business process management or workflow software management. And what is that with respect to? Is that a follow-up from a question earlier? I'm so sorry. I've gotten so many questions. I'm not sure if that's a question or a follow-up. My bad. Just please rephrase. Sorry. I'm tired. No excuse, Chris. All right. And Gregory is saying, hi, Chris. By the way, go Yankees. Dude, the Yankees are like this might be the best Yankees team since 1927. It's amazing. Ruth and Gehrig back then were unstoppable. And Ruth and Gehrig there for the Yankees barely played this year for you guys. Stanton and Giancarlo Stanton and Aaron Judge. It's the all-star team. It's amazing watching. My son Andrew is a diehard Yankees fan, and it killed me at first. But he was born in New York, so it's cool. And on his wall, he's got a big poster of Derek Jeter, who of course is retired now. But Jeter's amazing. He's a man. Yeah. And then Rohit is saying, is baseball good boardroom talk, Chris? Absolutely, dude. Any sport is great boardroom talk. Whenever I meet somebody in America, at least from a different city, I'll always bring up the baseball team from their city, and we'll have a great conversation if they're baseball fans. And the same thing with soccer or football, whatever. Yeah. It's the same thing. Yeah. Absolutely. Sports is great boardroom talk. Absolutely. It's fun. Look at us here. We're chit-chatting about sports here. It's fun. Yeah. My Blue Jays are so bad now, man. Sucks. All right. Rohit is saying, what do you think about America's dream? Is it still the same in today's modern day? Is USA still a land of opportunities with the strict visas and immigration policies? I think it is. I think America is a great place to start a country. And America's a land of extremes. I mean, there's controversial aspects to it. But I think if you work hard and you start a company, you can do anything. There's no limits on what you can achieve. And it's important for me to stress that, at least in the Bay Area where I live, more than 50% of all founders and engineers were born overseas. The American dream is not for American people. It's just an ideology, a system. And it's America is a great place to start a company. Government is there's a lot of incentives in place, etc. And also from a social perspective, I'm not saying the rest of the world is wrong, but at least in the Bay Area where I live, everybody's accepted. It's wonderful, and there's a cultural phenomenon in the San Francisco Bay Area where failure is cool. There's no shame in failing. There's no shame in failing. And again, it's not an American thing. It's just because more than 50% of all startup founders and engineers in the Bay Area were born overseas. Yeah. But it works. Yeah. All right. I don't see any more questions. You guys have questions?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah. I got some questions here from the audience here. Yeah.
So,
and I'll repeat the question for that. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
So one is a personal question.
Sure.
What kind of advice could you give me personally?
Yeah.
Because I feel like my background and my time that I invested in school, I feel like I'm not believing in myself. Like I feel like it's a piece of junk that whatever I did.
Yeah.
And another thing is I feel kind of illiterate when it comes to computers and digital things. And I feel like I'm so behind. I feel like I'm like an old man in the 80s who is coming in the 21st century.
Yeah. Okay. So the question is, a lot of the stuff you've learned in school you feel is not helpful, and you feel like you've fallen behind. Yeah. Well, you can always retool. You can always go online and learn new concepts from scratch. If you want to learn coding, there's a guy named Rob Percival and Angela Yu, two great teachers that make it so simplistic and fun to learn online that anybody can learn and retool at any age. And you're a pretty young guy, but you can reinvent yourself at any age you want to. We're all living 26 years longer today than we did in the 1950s. So you're 26 years younger than you think you are, and it's never too late to start over. Never too late. Just write down your goals, what you want to accomplish. And you're part of this MBA degree program, so I'm going to counsel you and mentor you along the way, humbly if I can. You just let me know what you want to achieve in life, and I'll do my best to walk through walls to help that vision of yours come true. You just got to know what your outcome is. What do you want? And once you figure that out, then I'll help you fill that gap. Yeah, but I think the crux of changing careers and starting over comes down to a couple of things. Number one, the ability to say, I don't give a damn if I fail 1,000,000 times in a row. I don't care what people think of me. I don't care, right? I'm going to be like a pit bull on a pork chop. I'm going to be relentless, right? And also the ability to know that nobody is smarter than you. And watch that video from Steve Jobs, right? I don't know if you've been watching my webcast. Okay, good. But believe it. Believe it. All these successful business people out there, they're not smarter than you, but they failed a lot more than you have.
I feel like sometimes maybe they have more opportunities than me.
No. And you got to network like crazy. Right? You got to get out there and do informational meetings and just be cool with hearing a lot of no's. You know, it's like J.K. Rowling, who wrote the Harry Potter series. You know, she got rejected by 30 publishers in a row. Most people would give up. You know, you just got to kind of think they're wrong, I'm right. I don't care what anyone thinks. I'm going to keep failing. And you only have to be right in business one time. Yeah. 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 And I'm with you, buddy. I'm with you. Yeah. Of course. Yeah. Thanks. Yeah. You guys, any other questions?
Yes, I have one
Sure.
more question.
Yeah.
Because you traveled now, I don't know, yesterday maybe to Germany, and you already seem adjusted to like
Yeah.
the time difference.
Yeah.
Do you have any tips or tricks when you travel so
Yeah.
around the world
Yeah.
to adjust?
Yeah. So the question is, how did I adjust? You know, I feel like you said, jet lag and stuff. Yeah, I'm tired, but I'm happy. What I do is I take a sleeping pill substance, and please talk to anybody on the webcast health stuff. That speak to a doctor first. But I take it. It's got I can get it. I could show you if you want. It's like Tylenol Simply Sleep. You can get over the counter. And I take a couple of them. On the airplane, I have that face mask thing and my earplugs, and yeah, I only got a couple hours of sleep, but it's fine. It's fine. Yeah. I am tired, but I'm happy. If I was doing something I hated doing, I'd be sleeping right now. Yeah. But I suck at it. Like I usually do an all-nighter, right, the first day. Like when I used to travel to Tokyo a lot, I would stay awake 24 hours when I got home. That was the only way to beat it. This is not that bad. Yeah. So, but when you do what you love doing, it's fine. It's like people still play video games when they're exhausted. It's just fun, you know. Yeah. Yep.
Chris,
Sure. Another
is your
question.
wife also in technology area?
No, the question is my wife in technology as well. So she works at IBM part-time. And IBM is a big American company. It stands for Industry's Biggest Mistake, or I've Been Moved, or Itty Bitty Machines. I'm just kidding. I hope she's not watching. But she works there. She works in marketing. Yeah.
So do you have time to, like, because I perceive you as a busy guy who works a lot and who wants to also give the world back what you've got.
Yeah.
So do you have like also enough time for your kids?
Yeah, that's a great question. Do I have enough time for my kids? I don't have that many friends outside of work. Like, I mean, I have friends, whatever, but I focus on family and the good friends. I focus on them as well. But if there's any small part of me that feels that a friend of mine is not going to be a friend of mine forever, right? There's something that I don't waste that time on them, right? It's not an arrogant thing, but it's just I can't get the time back with my kids and Christine, my family. Yeah, and I read a heartbreaking statistic, which is by the time your child is 12 years old, you've already spent 90% of the time you'll ever spend with them. Yeah, so I spend every second I can with my kids and Christine. And Christine's really good at saying, enough working, enough. And I'm like, but it's fun. Yeah. But yeah, no, and we have conversations like that at home, right? She said, honey, in a couple of years, we're going to be that's why I do. Everything is basically my students, my family. That's it, right? And a couple friends as well. Yeah. But it's tough. Like I spend time every day with my family. And for those of you on the webcast wondering why I'm talking over here, so we have a studio audience here in my room here in Germany, in Berlin. No, but I spend time with them every single. Like my kids, my youngest one, like Andrew's too cool now for me to do this, but I will spend time with I'll do prayers with two of them every night, and then whatever. Andrew, we set up a gym in the garage. And we're starting to work out together. I'm going to try to get back in a better shape. But yeah, everything is with them. Every second I can is that. And because I work from home, it's actually not that bad. I can do that, yeah. Yeah, but I make my kids breakfast Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Friday. Thursday I don't because of the webcast. I drive my kids Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Friday as well. Yeah, which is fun.
What kind of advice, or like
Yeah.
a dad, for example, when
Yeah.
you wish, if you would wish, like what kind of a future would you wish for your kids in the future? Because I'm becoming a dad soon.
Oh, congratulations! When is your child going to be born?
The 3rd of November. That's the
Dude, that is awesome, man. That's fantastic. Excellent. Oh, dude, when I mention holding your kid for the first time, you'll know what I mean. You don't know true happiness until you're going to hold it. It's like unlocking a level in a video game or something. Way better than that, obviously. But it's like, oh my, I didn't know I could have this much happiness. Yeah. Oh, dude, I'm happy for you, man. Yeah.
I'm looking for it.
Yeah.
I don't know what.
Yeah. Is this the first grandkid in your family? First grandkid?
No.
Not the first. Okay.
No.
Okay. Right. Okay. Right. Yeah.
20.
20. So that's awesome. That's great.
Yeah,
I'm
but,
happy for you.
Yeah, like I was like, I perceive the world is like changing so crazily and so fast.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, so what kind of advice I would wish to give to my kids, or to compete also in the future world.
Yeah. So advice for your kids on how to be competitive
Yes.
in an ever-changing world. I think the best advice that I could possibly say is just this is me. I try to raise my kids to be happy and to be confident. You know, and for me, respectful. We go to church, whatever. It's just my family, whatever. But just be happy and confident. And in anything that hurts my kids' confidence, I try to destroy it, whatever that is. You know, and you can never say to your kids, "I love you" enough times. You know, but just be there as a coach. Yeah. And I never put pressure on my kids. I've never told them what they want them to be. I just want them to be happy and confident. You know, it's their life. You know, yeah. It's fun. And when you have kids, dude, you get to be a kid again. It's awesome. Like the first time my son Matthew said, "Daddy, can you help me with this level in Super Mario Galaxy?" I was like, "Okay, fine." Yeah. It's fun. You get to be a kid all over again. Yeah. It's fun. Yeah. Congratulations, man. November 3rd. Yeah.
Thank you.
That's awesome. Wow, man.
We are looking for it.
Is you boy or girl? You know.
We don't.
You know. Okay. Yeah. We were surprised too.
We wanted
Surprised.
a surprise.
Yeah, we were surprised too. Yeah.
For all of the three.
No, well, first with Andrew, we were surprised. Yeah. With Matthew, we were surprised, and the third one, right? And most people have two kids; they have a boy and a girl. They're done, right? People have 3 kids, you just boy, or whatever. The third one, we went to the hospital and we were like, "Don't tell us." And the nurse said something like, "Okay, don't look now because there it is." We're like, "That's another boy." Yeah. Yeah. Any more than 3 kids would be crazy. It'd be nutty. Yeah.
3 kids it's a perfect number.
It's fun. My 3 sons. It's crazy.
All of
It's
them
fun.
are sons.
It's nutty.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think daughters are cool because all my friends that are girls, they're closer to their parents. Like guys move away for some reason. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, we wish we had a daughter. It'd be nice, but like yeah.
You can try this
Yeah.
for
It's great. No more kids. It's crazy. Yeah. Let me go back here and then I'll come back here. Okay.
Sure.
All right. Cool. Thanks. All right. Great. All right. Next up, let's see here. Whoa, a bunch of questions hit. All right. Hold on a second. Oh, Rohit. Thank you, buddy. Appreciate that. Okay. So Levi's saying it's a follow up to the question. Tallyfy is a company that focuses on workflow software and business process management consulting. Okay. After the MBA program, will I obtain mean and resources to start? I mean, I'll provide you in the MBA degree program with enough frameworks so that you can comfortably analyze companies from scratch. Which I think is applicable if you work in business process management or consulting in any role in general. You know, I cut my teeth in the business world working at Accenture. And so I'll certainly provide you with enough frameworks, to help you. Otherwise, your money back. Yeah. All right. And then Georgie is saying, Chris, what do you think about St. Louis Cardinals? Great baseball team, man. Unbelievable. They made they're going to the next round, I think, right? I haven't checked my MLB app, but I think they're going to the next round. Yeah. Amazing. Yeah. But over the years, I mean, just great franchise, Lou Brock, Pujols, broke my heart when Pujols left. I saw when he went back to play there for the first time in 8 years with the Angels. He got that standing ovation. He's amazing, man. He might be the best player in our generation, right? I still think he's underrated, yeah. He's still cranking out like 20 or 25 home runs a year, 250 average though, but he's still awesome. His first 10 years were off the charts, over 100 RBIs every year, over 300 average, over 30 RBIs, amazing, incredible. Yeah, and I agree. Andrew is saying it is a Yankees year. Yeah, I think so too. You say you saw it in 78 and 97. Yeah. 78. Is that the Reggie year? Is that 3 home runs or is that 77? Yeah. And Tobias is saying, do you think the impeachment will happen and will it have an impact on the U.S. and world economy? I have no idea. I don't know. I have no clue. Yeah. With all of your students and followers. That'd be fun, man. That'll be fun. You guys in with that? All right, cool. Awesome. That'd be fun. Sure. Yeah, it's fun. Andrew said agreed. Thank you. Thanks, Andrew. And then Kavanaugh is saying, why don't you put your broadcast on SoundCloud? People have asked me about that in podcasts as well. We're looking into doing this as a podcast as well because it's audible for the most part. You can listen to it. In this software I have set up here, Wirecast, I can broadcast it on almost every platform at the same time as well. It's really easy to do. Twitch as well, etc. So we might do that. The thing is, I've got a small company. I never want it to be much bigger. Our revenue and profitability per employee is like, we go against anybody, man, on the planet. It's awesome. And I never believe in having lots and lots of employees. I hate bureaucracy. I want to keep it small. But one of the issues with keeping it small like this is that there are certain things that we just haven't been able to do yet from a business development perspective. And that's cool. There might be low-hanging fruit, but I don't care. It's fun right now. We got a great group of guys. We're having a good time. Yeah. Eventually. But we get inbounds like every single day for different ed tech platforms, and we don't respond to them anymore. We used to initially, but it's no point. I do believe that Udemy is Google and everyone else is Bing in ed tech. Yeah. Sorry if you work at Microsoft. Yeah. All right. All right. Next up is, so Kavanaugh is saying, what's the difference between offering the MBA course through Udemy or Teachable? Yeah. So individual courses, if you put it on Udemy, Udemy will basically market it to the world, which is awesome. If you put it just on Teachable, no one's going to market it except yourself. And so for me with the MBA degree program, I don't want to scale it. I don't want it to be massive. I want it to be manageable and small. And I don't really care if it's profitable. In fact, I'm going to be losing money on it. It's just something I want to do. Yeah. And if I spread myself too thin, then I won't be able to add value. Yeah. And I kind of want to, like, I'll still create courses on Udemy, and I figured it out so I can crank out a number every single year. And I've done a couple okay ones this year or whatever. But I want to kind of, I don't know, I want to push the envelope. I want to push the goalpost out. If you look at the quality of our webcasts a year ago, it really pales in comparison to what we have now. And the ability to be able to take all the equipment and set this up here myself from, I know I'm a nerd, I get it, from Berlin is something I don't think I could have done a year ago. And so teaching live online is something I didn't think I could have done from a technical perspective a year ago. I want to kind of challenge myself to push the goalpost out. And I've started doing little things. You guys saw this last week. These are just pedals for changing cameras. For the MBA degree program, I have multiple pedals, like tons of them for changing slides, everything, because it's challenging and I'm growing that way. And once you stop growing, what's the point? So I always want to push the goalpost out. There's going to be a point, I don't know when, but I'm going to be using virtual reality to teach all this stuff. I don't know how yet, or augmented reality, if it's accessible to everybody, right? But what I'm doing with this MBA degree program is I'm trying to do it so it's so easy for you and all my students to learn. It doesn't matter what platform you're on. So every slide I create for the screen as well can be read on mobile, right? It's just fun. It's challenging for me. So, yeah. All right. Let me see here. Hold on a second, guys. Okay, Dupree, Andrew wrote Yankee 77. Yeah. I must ask you, what is the fate of a woman in business who is a vegan? Teetotaler, I don't know what that means, and non-smoker who's not into Hollywood productions or sports. How does the poor soul bond? Oh, interesting. Okay, you mean from a networking perspective. So earlier in the call, I said that sports is great boardroom talk. I mean, there's other ways to bond as well. You know, it's as easy as reading the newspaper, you know, the day of an interview or a meeting. You can talk about the Oscars that were on last night, for example, that sort of thing. You can always find other ways to bond people. You know, one great way to do it is before meetings, what you can do is go to the Twitter profile of the person you're going to be meeting with and see who they follow. You might find that, you know, they have things in common with you. Maybe they're vegan as well. I don't know. Maybe they have a love for movies, or maybe they have a passion for something else you're passionate about that you can talk about as well and bond over that topic. There's always different ways to bond. And if you want, you can go to my website, Haroun Ventures, and download my book for free on how to network. And you'll see there's a lot of great tips in there as well, which will, I humbly think, will help you bond as well. And I don't think being a vegan will hurt at all. I don't see why that even matters. It's kind of cool. Okay, and if you have a follow-up based on that, please let me know. Thank you. All right, Rohit is saying, I would love to work at Haroun Ventures. Haroun Ventures would go against HBS. 2/3 of HBS, which is Harvard Business School, 2/3 of HBS is BS. Amen. I'm with you. I love it. And then Georgie is saying, I remember flying from Dallas-Fort Worth to St. Louis 2011 when the Cardinals won the World Series. There were announcements during the flight and landing. The airport was all in Cardinals decoration. The people went crazy. That's awesome. Amazing. That was Pujols last year there, I think, right? He won the World Series and then he left. That's right. Yeah. It's amazing. And it's so interesting because St. Louis, it's middle America, and people in different states are all Cardinals fans as well. It's fascinating. It's interesting. No, it's a great franchise. Yeah, Stan Musial. They should make a movie about that guy. He was awesome. Okay, next one is after one completes the new MBA program, would he be able to be a teaching assistant and contribute helping Haroun Ventures in some way? You know, there's a possibility of that. I've been thinking about bringing on interns as well. To fill in certain skill sets that we might be lacking, and maybe to help out with other things as well. I'm not sure yet, but it's something I'm thinking about. Yeah. Thank you for asking. Okay. And then Gregory's, what's up?
Next question.
Oh, next question? Yeah. What happened? Oh.
No, just
Oh, there. Okay, thanks. Oh, you put this here. Yeah. Was that on the floor? That's my
I was standing here, but it's for the next question.
Oh, it's for the next question. Okay, cool. Okay. Oh, thank you. Oh, I got you. So Gregory's saying, hi, Chris, did you bring your bulletproof coffee during this trip? I did. Thank you. It was on my shelf there. I had the small. Dude, you guys got to be careful of this stuff because it's this was unopened. Like I just opened it up when I got here. These things spill all the time. Like I wrapped it in a couple of bags and stuff. And it's oil. It's brutal. But yes, I brought it. I brought my bulletproof coffee. Pass me the coffee here too. No. The bag? Yeah. And that mug there too. Yeah. Thanks. Yeah. I brought my bulletproof coffee here, right? You can get butter anywhere, right? I didn't have to bring the butter, obviously. Is you put the coffee here, okay? Then you get hot water as hot as you can, right? You put it in, and then what you do is you let it sit for just 4 minutes, and you stir it up a bit. Let it sit. Then screw this on. And then you screw it on tightly, whatever, and then you press it this way, all the way down, right? And then I lift it up, and then I put in the oil and the butter in here. And just to let you know that I'm staying true to my diet. Pass me the pills. Yeah, the pills and the big bag of protein stuff. Yeah. The massive bag. Yeah. Yeah. Thanks. Yeah. Thank you. I practice what I preach. So I have all my vitamins here as well for every day. I'm here. I have 5 of them, 5 sleeps, right? So it's all this. And I have here, because all my shakes, because I couldn't pack all my stuff, like all the kale shakes, whatever. I got, this is kind of kale, whatever. But here I have 5 of these as well. And what's in these things is, you can see the acai. Okay, that's acai powder. Okay. And for those of you who have taken my other courses, you heard me talk about this stuff in the past. The white there is just whey protein. This is just antioxidant stuff, cinnamon as well. And so what I do is I put this in my shake and I shake up in the morning. And that's how I eat stuff here. Yeah. I haven't ordered room service yet.
You get to know all these things.
Oh, over the years, I biohacked like crazy, man. Wow. Like I experiment a lot. A lot. Even that peppermint thing that Andrew Dupree mentioned last week, that's on the top of my mind for my palms or my forehead. I can't remember, but it's something I will try. And I brought these too. So you guys know that this Throat 37 stuff, this is what opera singers use or rock and roll singers when their voice goes. And this other silver winds thing, it's a little out there. It's when you're starting to feel sick, you spray it in your mouth and it helps you from not getting sick. My little sister Elizabeth, who I love, introduced me to that. Yeah. So I did bring it with me on the road. Crazy, I know. Yeah. All right. All right. Next up. Oh, you're welcome. A Mercy. You're welcome. All right. Kavanaugh is saying, what are your thoughts on offering volunteering to students? Ooh. What do you mean by that? Do you mean like students volunteering to do something charitable, or because now I'm starting to think the 111% thing from Salesforce. Interesting. Yeah, let me know what you mean by that, and we'll drill down together. Okay. And Gregory's writing, so cool, Chris. You're so good. Thank you. Like Michael Jordan said, I failed over and over and over again. That's why I succeed, I guess. Although I failed more than he has. And Gregory's saying, which brand of this? I'm looking for one like that. You mean the brand of the Bulletproof, or brand of something else? Let me know what you mean. This thing. Oh, the coffee thing. Yeah. So this is called. I'll read it out to you. It's called. Good eyes, man. Bodum. 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 And then it says the fresh way to brew fresh coffee and tea. Yeah. And I taped it up. That's why it's got all this tape mark on it. But yeah, it's called BODUM. Yeah, it's great. I love my coffee. Like I'll go to bed sometimes and about to fall asleep. I'm like, dude, I can't wait to wake up to have my coffee. Yeah. So try this angle here. See if it looks better. Yeah. This is my Canon Mark III 5D camera for 2012. And it still works great, better than all my other cameras. I love it. Yeah, but here it is here. BODUM. Yeah, the focus is a little bit off, but yeah. And I hooked it up a GoPro, but it's not working. It looks like this here. See that? Yeah. So, but the GoPro resolution just sucks for these things anyway. It's fine. All right. Let me go back here, see if there's more questions. And Arun is saying, do you have a mind palace? I've never heard of that before. A mind palace. It's interesting. Do you have a mind palace? How do you remember things? Huh? Oh, we're good? Okay. Yeah. That was the GoPro thing. That's why. Yeah. I don't know. I just kind of, when I'm doing something I enjoy, I just kind of remember things. I've always had a kind of a crazy long memory. You can't see my shirt here. Believe in yourself. Be you. There it is. Yeah. And my youngest son, Dylan, has that as well. Yeah. But dude, I do have a weakness though. Like I'll talk to somebody at a party for hours, know everything about them except their name. It's awful. Yeah. Robin Vitale, right? Robin Vitale. There you go. Yeah. But no, I remember things. Yeah. And then Gregory wrote Bodum, the famous Danish brand. Oh, it's Danish. I didn't know that. Very cool. That's the brand of that coffee mug. Where is it? Right here. Yeah. It's right here. It's great. Yeah. Great. Any more questions? You guys have questions here? For the studio audience? No questions? Okay. Any more questions on the webcast? No? All right. So I want to thank you all for your time. This has been a lot of fun. If you subscribe to my vlog, I will see you mañana, which is Spanish for tomorrow. If not, God bless you. Have a wonderful weekend, and I will see you next Thursday and every single Thursday forever at 8 a.m. San Francisco time. Thank you. Thanks, guys. Thank you.